Hello, everybody. Welcome to the MTG Place podcast. I'm your host, Corey, and with me, like always, is James. How's it going, James?
Doing good here. How are we doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Played a little bit of draft, did a lot of editing, so we got a lot of videos coming out, which will be cool.
Heck
on the
yeah.
YouTube.
The YouTubes, indeed.
We also have a new affiliate sponsor, which is Miniature Market. So another place to buy cards. If you want Magic cards, you can also buy like D&D minis. I think they have Pokemon and stuff as well. And the link will be in the show notes, but it's like miniature-market.sjv.io/mtgplace or something like that.
Yeah, we'll obviously post that so you can just
it's a little crazy to just remember that.
Those URLs are pretty dicey.
Yeah, it's in the show notes. It's on our YouTube page in the About. It's in the Discord, and it's on our website, mtgplace.net. You can also support us by ordering on TCG Player with their affiliate link as well, still.
Yeah. We're going to be talking about some cards here, so if you're going to go out to get some of these, use our link. We'll definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, and then lastly, you can support us directly on Patreon or in Discord by signing up for a monthly subscription, and you get all sorts of cool perks depending on the tier level you sign up for. So today we are talking Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Excited for the
new set? Let's go. We have all the spoilers now, it appears. And there is some cool shit in this set, man.
Oh yeah, lots of cool cards. It's dinosaurs again.
Yep. Gods are back.
I'm kind of ready for it because I was getting sick of doing Eldraine drafts.
Yeah, I mean, as fun as they are, Eldraine was amazing. But this is going to be really cool, it looks like. Ixalan, the first time around, which I sadly did not really play because I was kind of taking a break from Magic at the time, was really fun because that was like our kind of first introduction to like the big dinosaur creatures and whatnot. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that again here.
Yeah, so you want to go ahead and read up the first card? We're also only going to do rares and mythics and not reprints.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'll be here forever, like usual. Well, this is already going to be like probably almost 2 hours. So yeah, we'll be in Wooburg order like always, in alphabetical order, starting with white. Our first card is Abuelos Awakening. It is X3 white for a sorcery. Return target artifact or non-aura enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield with X additional +1/+1 counters on it. It's a 1/1 spirit creature with flying in addition to its other types.
So you bring back an artifact or enchantment, and it becomes a 1/1 spirit, and then if you want to, you can pay mana to make it bigger. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Hydra in a way, like because that's kind of like the Hydra effect where you just pay X for the 1/1 counters.
It's kind of like a resurrection, but for artifacts and enchantments.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I play that in Commander.
Yeah, I mean, if you have extra mana, especially if you're playing artifacts, you usually have
I don't know how many artifacts and enchantments will be in the main set to make this like super good for like a draft card or like a constructed card. But I think in Commander it'll be pretty good.
The right kind of deck, this can be pretty powerful.
All right, next up we got Fabrication Foundry. It's a 1 and a white for an artifact. Okay. Tap, add a white mana. Spend this mana only to cast an artifact spell or activate an ability of an artifact source. Okay. 2 and a white, tap, exile one or more other artifacts you control with total mana value X. Return target artifact card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. I mean, white mana rock is cool.
Yeah, white mana rock's not bad for artifact spells, at least.
Mm-hmm. I just don't know how many white artifacts I play. But I mean, it's obviously there's the blue-white artifacts deck, and like blue-white-red have a lot of artifacts, so like this would go in there.
Because that's any artifact to get back for the exile.
Right. Yeah. So in Commander, it's great.
That's great in Commander. In the set, who knows? I
Right.
haven't gone through the list, so I have no idea.
Although we did just have 2 white things doing with artifacts, so maybe the white theme is artifacts.
That's very possible. We might find some more. In Commander, this seems like this could be very good in an artifact deck. Again, and it's very cheap.
Oh yeah, so 2 mana rock is what you want.
Yeah, that's pretty legit for sure. Next we got Get Lost. I love the name for this one. It's 1 and a white for an instant. Destroy target creature, enchantment, or planeswalker. Its controller creates 2 map tokens, which is kind of a new thing for this. Which that's artifact with pay 1 and tap it. Sacrifice this artifact. Target creature you control explores. Activate only as a sorcery.
Yeah, and explore is where you like look at the top card. If it's a land, you put it in your hand. If not, you can put it in the graveyard or leave it on top, and you put a 1/1 counter on the creature that explored. But remember, it does target. So if you go to activate this at sorcery speed and target your creature to explore, if they blow up your creature, you no longer get to explore, so you don't get the land or anything.
That sucks.
So the map tokens are probably worth like half a card, I think, in like limited value. If you hit a land, it's obviously worth a whole card. It's not as good as like if you could just get any card.
Yeah, so like Path or something where you literally get a card or get a land.
Yeah, so this is a decent removal spell for sure. Because I mean, 2 map tokens aren't going to help your opponent that much, especially if you're probably destroying a big threat.
Not nearly as much as like them getting a land or them getting life equal to the toughness of the creature or whatever power, whatever. I can't remember what the swords does exactly.
Yeah, this is nice because it hits creature, enchantment, or planeswalker for just 2 mana.
Yeah, and you got multiple targets.
Yeah.
So obviously it does cost 1 more than something like Path does, but you have more choices, which is very nice.
Yeah, and nobody cares.
But it's only destroy; it's not exile. But
the other one was insane. The one that what was it? Shadows over Innistrad that was played in standard like crazy. It was the 2 mana sorcery that like exiled a creature and gave them like a clue.
Yeah,
like, this is like you could destroy something at instant speed, and they get some map tokens, and you could hit a planeswalker or enchantment as well.
Yeah, you can hit more things with it.
So I think this is a good card.
So, yeah, that's good removal, really good removal, and honestly, could definitely see play outside of just standard. For sure, or just limited.
Next up, we got Kellen, the Daring Traveler. So 1 and a white for a 2/3 legendary creature, human fairy scout. He was just an Eldrin, right? So now he traveled to Ixalan.
Yeah.
So whenever Kellen, Daring Traveler attacks, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card with mana value 3 or less, put it in your hand. Otherwise, you may put it into your graveyard. That's really good.
Yeah.
And then it has an adventure for 1 green. It's a sorcery that is create X map tokens, where X is 1 plus the number of opponents who control an artifact.
So in Commander, that's 4 almost always.
Yeah.
3, almost always.
Well, it'd be 4, right? 3 opponents. Yeah. So if all of your opponents have a mana rock, you 1 mana get 4, artifact fodders.
That's pretty sick.
Ramp. Or you can use them to sack the artifacts to some other effect.
Yeah.
But I mean, like 2 for a 2/3 that when it swings, you can put creatures with mana value 3 or less into your hand. Like it draws you a card. That's good.
Yeah, that's really good. Literally immediately replaces itself, basically.
Yeah, like this is White Weenie staple. Like it's good. And if you have the 3 CMC or less deck for Commander, like with Sun Titan and stuff, this is an awesome card for that deck.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a Sun Titan trigger, kind of, but...
And this could be your Commander, and then you could just build 3 CMC or less creature deck. Right. This could just be your Commander, and you have both the Adventure and the Commander in the Commander.
So this just turns into an engine and just churns stuff out, which is really good.
This is bonkers good. I think this is really good.
Yeah, this will definitely see play in many settings. Out in limited, this is a great card in limited, and then outside of limited, this will also be good. Yeah, for sure. Right. Next, we got Kutzil's Flanker. It is 2 and a white for a 3/1 Cat Warrior creature. Kitties are back. Hooray. We love that. Has Flash. When Kutzil's Flanker enters the battlefield, you can choose one. Or, well, you do choose, rather. Put a +1/+1 counter on this creature for each creature that left the battlefield under your control this turn, or you gain 2 life and scry 2, or exile target player's graveyard. All right, so we got the graveyard hate, which we love to see against Corey.
Yeah, so this is a situational card, but it's got 2 different situationals that are pretty good.
Yeah.
So like because it has flash, right? So the other card is like
Yeah.
that has flash is like 2 mana 3/1, and it can like blow up a artifact or enchantment or something. But this is like, all right, 3 mana 3/1 flash, and so you're either going to flash it in after a board wipe and and it's going to be huge because everything that died under your control, right? If you had a
Yeah,
big board.
so that's gonna be really good.
Or if someone goes to like target with reanimate or something, you can exile their graveyard, flash in response.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you just need a blocker or something, you just throw it down, gain 2 life, and scry 2, which is setting up your draw for the next turn. So they're all like 3 medium abilities, I feel, that are situational. But like at its worst, it's a 3 mana 3/1 that gains you 2 life and scries 2. It's pretty good.
Right. Would you pay 3 to get a 3/1 that'll draw that'll scry 2 and give you 2 life, right? That's
pretty
decent
good.
stats. But then the other 2 are just incredible in the right scenario for sure.
Yeah.
Like right after a board wipe, this is massive. And then of course, if someone's about to like go off with like a reanimate deck or something like that, this is also massive. So very good. Would be a very good play. For 3 mana, I exile your graveyard so you can't bring back freaking, Gristlebrand or whatever the hell you're doing. Yeah, no thank you. Or, some other, Blightsteel. Or no, that can't be in the graveyard, but, something big.
But, Arcana Cruelty or something, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, no thanks. I read that one. That's right.
All right, next up we got Ogier. Ogier Talk, the Deepest Foundation. It is 4 white for a 6/6 legendary creature god. So gods are back.
Gods are back.
Vigilance. If one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, 3 times that many tokens are created instead.
Oh my god. Okay.
So this is better than like a doubling season for creature tokens.
Shit, for creatures, yes.
Yeah. So
okay,
you definitely want this in your wrist deck. And then when it dies, you return it to the battlefield tapped and transformed under your control. And it transforms into Temple of Civilization, which is a land that taps for a white and has pay 2 and a white, tap it, transform it, activate only if you attacked with 3 or more creatures this turn, and only as a sorcery.
Okay, so you have the ability to transform him back if you pay 3. Okay.
Yeah, so basically when it dies, he turns into a land. And then you could like the next turn attack with some tokens and flip them back over.
That's actually really interesting.
So
I like
6 mana token tripler that if it gets killed, you can just bring it back a turn or 2 later.
Yeah, for 3 mana, like
it's
literally like
insane.
Okay.
Right?
Let's see. Transforms. Okay.
You have to attack with 3 creatures, but it's giving you 3 times that amount of tokens. So if they remove it, whatever. Just attack with the tokens and then pay 3 in your second main.
Okay, so to transform, you do have to attack with 3 creatures as well as.
Yeah. So you have to do it in your second main phase.
So it's a little situational, but still.
It's attack with 3 creatures and then go to second main and flip them back.
Then you flip them, yeah.
But it's still like a 6/6 vigilance that triples your tokens that you can get back. Yeah. And
holy crap.
Worst case, even if you've never activated, it's a 6/6 that like if they just remove it on the spot, you still got to land out of the deal.
Yeah, like land is really good. It's like a free path of exile.
Yeah.
Basically. It's like, okay, cool. And then you can get it back.
Yeah.
And a token deck, that's easy enough to do.
Yeah, you want this in your wrist deck.
I do want this in my wrist deck. I would love to triple my tokens. Yes, please. Yeah. That's busted. Holy crap. Might not be as good in like limited or something like that, but in a token deck, like in Commander, this is a must-have. Like,
I mean, this with doubling season is just bonkers.
Like, you like one trigger is going to just flood your board.
Yeah, you're gonna get like 6 tokens.
One time. I activate wrist. You get like freaking what? 4 tokens and then like another 4 tokens. Is that how that would work, Mr. MTG Judge?
Wait, what? No. So you would create your 1 token.
You create the 1, yeah,
and then you get to choose if you want it to be 3 times or 2 times you apply which effect first from the dome.
So I'm
So you
assuming
do the 3 probably.
the 3
So you
first.
get
Yeah.
3 tokens, and then you would apply the second effect
So you
after,
get
so you get
6.
6. Yeah.
Okay, that's
So it
how
just
it works.
multiplies.
So yeah, I would love to tap this and pay 3 for 6 tokens. That seems really good.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay, that's a card. Wow. Okay, this set's insane. Next up, we got Sanguine Evangelist. It is 2 and a white for a 2/1 vampire cleric creature. It has a battle cry. That's a throwback for you. When Sanguine Evangelist enters the battlefield or dies, create a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying. So doubles its presence, basically. That's pretty cool.
So it attacks, everything else attacking gets +1/+0.
Yep, except for it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still good. So it's a 3 mana 2/1 plus a 1/1 flyer, and then when it dies, you get another 1/1 flyer.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
That's not bad. So yeah, you basically get a 2/1 and 2 1/1s for the price of 3 mana. Like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and if you have a big board, the battle cry is going to be relevant.
Yeah, and the battle cry is going to be real good.
Seems pretty good to token.
Any creature-based deck, battle cry is great. So
this is insane. If you have that god guy out, get 3 bats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Well, I pay 3 for a 2/1 and 3 1/1s. How about that? And if you dies, you get 3 more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
All right. Next up, we got Thousand Moons Smithy, which is 2 white for a legendary artifact. It says when it enters the battlefield, create a white gnome soldier artifact creature token with this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of artifacts and or creatures you control. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may tap 5 untapped artifacts and or creatures you control. If you do, transform this into legendary artifact land called Barracks of the Thousand, which taps for a white and has the static ability of whenever you cast an artifact or creature spell using mana produced by Barracks of the Thousand, create a white gnome soldier artifact creature token with this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of artifacts and creatures you control.
Okay, so that basically does the same thing, right?
Yeah, so ETBs makes a soldier equal to the number of creatures and artifacts you control totaled. And then if you have 5 artifacts or creatures, you
flip it, yeah.
You could flip it, and then every single time you cast something using this mana that's a creature or artifact, you get another token.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
You're
just going to get these golems that are fucking huge.
So this is great. This is great in a creature-based deck or a token deck, or an artifact deck. I mean, yeah. So so there's 3 uses where this is good, and all 3 it's just going to keep multiplying because you're going to keep making things as long as you play stuff.
Yeah,
this is bonkers card. It's only like a 4 mana to begin with, right?
Yep, 4 mana.
Oh my god,
for an artifact.
So good.
That's pretty awesome.
And you don't even. I mean, and then you could play this in like Brago too if you wanted, because like you don't even have to trigger that bottom part. You could just keep flickering this and getting a token equal number of creatures and artifacts you control.
Yeah, just gotta blink at every turn, or
yeah. And then when you have 5 of them, you can flip it into the land and cast more stuff for more of them. It's like what?
Yeah. This can definitely be very easily broken.
And it says mana produced by this. So if you have something that like makes it add 2 whites, you could cast 1 spell with it and float the other one, cast another spell, and get 2 in a turn.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah, that's really good. Very good card. Yet again.
These transform cards are bonkers.
Yeah, these are crazy. And speaking of which, we got another one here. We got Unstable Glyph Bridge. It is 3 white for an artifact. When Unstable Glyph Bridge enters the battlefield, if you cast it for each player, choose a creature with power 2 or less that player controls. Then destroy all creatures except the creatures chosen this way. And then it has Craft with Artifact for 3 white. So that's exile this artifact, exile an artifact you control, or an artifact card from your graveyard. Return this card transformed under its owner's control. So then the transform side is Sand Swirl Wanderglyph, which is an artifact creature that's a golem that's a 5/3 with flying. Whenever an opponent casts a spell during their turn, they can attack you or planeswalkers you control this turn. Each opponent who attacked you or a planeswalker you control this turn can't cast spells. Wow, that is really dirty. Gross.
Okay, so the front side is basically a board wipe, right? Like everyone keeps something with power 2 or less, whatever. And then you just pay 5 more mana the next turn and exile an artifact from your graveyard or in play to then have a 5/3 flyer that's like the ultimate hate bear. Like it's like a ghostly prison hate bear, because like if they attack you, they can't cast spells, and if they cast a spell, they can't attack.
This is like the hate bear's dream card, man.
Yeah.
It's just pain in every way possible.
And it's a 5/3 flyer, so you could attack with it too with 5 damage. It's crazy.
Yeah, and you're probably going to get damage, and like that's good damage. 5.
And this is they can't cast spells if they can't attack you if they cast spells, or they can't cast spells if they attack. This is after you board wipe to them.
Yeah.
So they're going to be casting stuff. So you're not going to be attacked for a while if you do that.
No. So
unless they remove it on the spot, which this is one of those.
You'll be putting in 5 free damage every turn, probably.
This is one of those cards that's going to be instantly removed on the spot.
Oh yeah, this is getting. I mean, it's boltable. Thank God they Magic at least gave us that one, because that would have been rude otherwise. But very good card. This is instant removal, 100%.
Next up, we got Warden of the Inner Sky. It's a 1-drop. 1 mana, 1/2. As long as Warden of the Inner Sky has 3 or more counters on it, it has flying and vigilance. Tap 3 untapped artifacts and or creatures you control, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and scry 1, activate as a sorcery. So this is great in a 1/1 counter deck, because you could just like put it on there with some other effect, and then it's a 1 mana, 1/2 flying vigilance with 3 1/1s would make it a 4/5 flying vigilance.
Yeah, that's pretty good
for 1 mana, and plus
for
whatever
1
you
mana
use to put counters on it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, sick card. Really cheap.
Good for a 1-drop.
Really good for a 1-drop. Yeah. All right. Well, that's white. White's got some crazy cards, man. Holy crap.
I feel like every card's playable. There's a few that like you might see in the right deck, but there's some that are just bonkers. Like all the flip cards are bonkers.
Every single one of the transform cards can be played almost anywhere. Obviously, the god needs to be like something that creates tokens, but like the other ones are just good on their own. Honestly, All right, we are on to blue. First blue card we got is Akal Pakal, first among equals. It is 2 and a blue for a 1/5 legendary human advisor creature. At the beginning of each player's end step, if an artifact entered the battlefield under your control this turn, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the other into your graveyard. That's not bad.
That's pretty good. It's like card draw selection if you played an artifact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty decent, I'd say.
It's good in an artifact deck. If you have flash artifacts, it's really good.
Which is not hard to do. In the right kind of deck, this can definitely give you some feel, which is always good.
Next up, we got Braided Net. It is 2 and a blue for an artifact that enters the battlefield with 3 net counters on it. It has tap, remove a net counter from Braided Net, tap another target non-land permanent. Its activated abilities can't be activated for as long as it remains tapped. Okay. And then it has crafted an artifact where you can pay 1 and a blue and exile an artifact from in play or your graveyard to transform it into the Braided Quipu. How do you say that?
I have no idea how to say that.
Which is an artifact. It has 3 and a blue tap, draw a card for each artifact you control, and then put this into its owner's library, third from the top.
Okay. So this is another kind of hate berry card is what it's looking like to me.
Well, it's more like it taps down. It can tap down 3 things, and then you flip it into this thing to draw a bunch of cards, and then play
And
it
then
again.
put it back in your deck and play it again.
Yeah, it's kind of control-y.
Rinse and repeat.
Cards.
Yeah.
It seems pretty good in an artifact deck because you could just craft it right away just to draw a bunch of cards.
And you're probably gonna want to do that. You're gonna want to, you're gonna have plenty of. I'm sure you'll have, Thopter tokens or something that you can sacrifice off for this, or something stupid that you don't care about. And bring this right on back and keep tapping down their shit. It's basically death and taxes in blue. Like that sounds great. And then it also draws you stuff, and it brings itself back. Like, yeah, that's pretty good, man. Yeah, that's seems good to me. All right, next we got Deeproot Pilgrimage. It is 1 and a blue for an enchantment. Whenever one or more non-token Murfolk you control become tapped, create a 1/1 blue Murfolk creature token with hexproof.
Yeah,
so,
let's
Murfolk Treble. Let's go.
All the Murfolk.
I wonder if there's any more. Oh, yeah, there are more. I see one. So, yeah, there's definitely Murfolk in this set.
Yeah, and if you have a Murfolk with the tap ability, you'll trigger this, and then, like, when you attack, you'll trigger it. And, like, it doesn't trigger if you tap multiple at the same time, like just attacking with a bunch of things.
Yeah.
But if you can tap it individual instances, you can get a lot of 1/1s with this.
Or have a way to double your tokens or something like that, then there you go.
Next up, we got Kitesail Larcenist. It is 2 and a blue for a 2/3 human pirate with flying and ward 1. When it enters the battlefield, for each player, choose up to 1 other target artifact or creature that player controls. For as long... Sorry, I had to yawn. For as long as Kitesail Larcenist remains on the battlefield, the chosen permanent becomes treasure artifacts with tap, sack this adamant of any color, and they lose all other abilities.
Ooh.
So basically, you could choose one thing under every player as an artifact or creature, and it turns it into a treasure token until this goes away.
So turn their commander into a treasure token? That sounds like a good play to me, right?
Yep. I mean, they'll probably just sack it from mana right away. But
I mean, yeah, but hey, it gets their commander off the board real easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to make your Ur Dragon go away for just, making you sack it. And then you have to pay like 12 again. Yeah. Yes, please. Yeah, that seems pretty
solid
decent.
pirate.
Yeah, not bad. Next we got Malcolm, Alluring Scoundrel. It is 1 and a blue for a 2/1 legendary Siren Pirate creature. That is an interesting combination. With flash and flying. Some keywords there. Whenever Malcolm, Alluring Scoundrel, deals combat damage to a player, put a chorus counter on it, draw a card, then discard a card. If there are 4 or more chorus counters on Malcolm, you may cast the discarded card without paying its mana cost.
So the first loot is going to be pretty easy because you can just flash this in at their end step, and then they probably don't have a flyer and a block.
Most likely, yeah.
But if you could hit that 4, it's like looting, but I get to cast every card for free that I'm pitching out of my hand.
Seems pretty good.
Seems really good. Loot.deck. Let's go.
Especially if you get something big like, I don't know, Omniscience. Oh, let's play this for free. Yeah. All right. All my other shit's free now. Sorry. Yeah, that's gonna have some big value for sure. Especially if you're able to really get it going. Like if you play this on turn 2, oh god. They're gonna have
you just gotta get it to 4.
Yeah. And if you play it early enough, yeah, they might not be able to stop it, depending on what they're playing.
Next up, we got Ogier, the Deepest Epoch. It is 2 blue for a 4/3 legendary god with flying. Whenever you cast an instant spell from your hand, it gains a rebound. So that means it gets cast again on your next upkeep for free.
That's really good.
And when it dies, return to the battlefield tapped and transformed under its owner's control with 3 time counters on it. And it becomes Temple of the Cyclical Time. Tap, add a blue, remove a time counter from it. Pay 2 and a blue, tap, transform Temple of the Cyclical Time. Activate only if it has no time counters on it and only as a sorcery.
All right, so this one it makes you wait to.
Yeah, this one makes you wait 3 turns to get it, but I mean, it dies into a land.
So it's still nice. Basically, it's 3 turns of free land, which is still not bad.
I mean, and if you have a way to like take the counters off of it,
like some kind of hexproof or hex mage effect or something, or clock spinning or whatever. So that's time counters, all that stuff would work. Or, heaven forbid, Doctor Who had all sorts of ways to deal with that if you have things that can nicely sync up with this. So not as good as the white one because it definitely hinders it with that discrepancy. Mm-hmm. But still really good. Having your spells have rebound, Jesus fucking Christ, that's really good.
Yeah, that's insane. Your instants have rebound.
Bonkers, man. Yes, I would love to play, almost anything twice is going to be really, copying spells is a thing for a reason. So this just really makes you have it every single time, like without doing anything. Like, yeah, that's pretty good. Even if it's only on the board for 1 turn, as long as you're able to capitalize on that 1 turn, you can have all sorts of things already rebounding the next turn. Like, yeah, you're fine. You don't care. Yep. All right. Next, we got a vehicle. It is a Subterranean Schooner. It is 1 and a blue for a 3/4 artifact vehicle. It has crew 1. Whenever a Subterranean Schooner attacks target creature that crewed it, this turn explores. So that's pretty cool.
That's pretty good. I mean, it's a 2-mana 3/4, and it can ramp you.
Yep. So instead of, usually when you have a vehicle, you just have to crew it. You just tap down a creature and you're, down a creature, which usually you don't care too much about that. But in this case, it's actually rewarding you, which is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, because you're either going to get a 1/1 counter or a land out of the deal. So
not a bad deal.
It's kind of a, hey, you kind of want to crew this sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, you turn your 1/1 into a 3/4, and then your 1/1 also, either gets you a land or gets bigger. Like,
plus, it's a cool pirate ship.
Yeah, the art looks sick, by the way. I love this. Yeah, that's a nice card. For 2 mana, too? Not bad.
Yeah. Next up, we got the Enigma Jewel. It is 1 blue for a legendary artifact that enters tapped. And it has tap, add 2 colorless to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to activate abilities. Craft with 4 or more non-land cards that all have activated abilities for 8 and a blue.
That's a lot.
So pay 8 and a blue, exile this, exile 4 or more cards from permanents you control or graveyard that have activated abilities. Craft this as a sorcery. So if you do that, you flip this 1-drop artifact that you now paid 9 for the craft into Locus of Enlightenment. It's a legendary artifact. Locus of Enlightenment has each activated ability of the exiled cards used to craft it. You may activate each of those abilities only once each turn. Whenever you activate an ability that isn't a mana ability, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy.
Oh, God. Okay, that's why that costs 9. Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, and you have to exile 4. So this is going to have 4 abilities on it, and whatever one you can activate them all, and the copies it.
And they get copied.
Yeah, and the bottom part triggers even if it's not itself. Like, you can just do it on some other thing.
Yeah. That's really good.
Activated abilities .deck.
Yeah. Activated abilities matter. Let's go.
There's a few cards they've been printing lately that care about activated abilities. So
Yeah, this
I would
goes
be
right in with that, man.
I'd be curious to see what people are playing and abusing with that.
Yeah, me too. I'd love to see what people come up with this. There's lots of good creatures with activated abilities out there. So there's uh, not just creatures, like permanents in general. This is permanents. Obviously, creatures are, also artifacts. There's lots of artifacts that have good things that can definitely go with this. So yeah, this can, and especially in an artifact deck, you can come up with 9 mana easy enough usually. So
Yep.
I mean, yeah, this can get very broken very quick. Next up, we have another legendary artifact. It's the Ever-Flowing Well. It is 2 and a blue for a legendary artifact. When the Ever-Flowing Well enters the battlefield, mill 2 cards, then draw 2 cards. Then it has Descend 8. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 8 or more permanent cards in your graveyard, transform the Ever-Flowing Well. It transforms into the Myriad Pools, which is a legendary artifact land. It has just tap it to add a blue. Whenever you cast a permanent spell using mana produced by the Myriad Pools, up to one other target permanent you control becomes a copy of that spell until end of turn.
Interesting.
So
you turn one permanent into something that you're casting.
Yeah.
Per turn.
So you turn like your treasure token or something into something that you're, whatever that you want to cast.
I cast my Sol Ring. I'm going to turn my treasure token into a Sol Ring for turn.
Yeah, it seems pretty good.
Or whatever, something like that,
Yeah, Mana Crypt, whatever you're playing with.
It's pretty cool.
Lots of uses for that. That's an interesting card. Yeah. Interesting is like kind of like a threshold in a way, because it's 8 instead of 7.
Except for it has to all be permanent cards. It doesn't count like instants and sorceries.
Oh, right. Okay. Like yeah, so that's a little different.
Yeah. And it does mill you 2 cards right off the bat, so.
Yeah. And it also draws you 2, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Interesting, like if you flicker this, if you find a way to flicker this.
Oh yeah, just keep like divination, but milling yourself.
Yeah, I love a free divination. Yeah, sure, you're losing cards too, but honestly, you're probably playing a deck. If you're playing this in your deck, you're probably, you're okay with that. Yeah. You have a way to get them back.
Next up, we got Tishana's Tidebender, 2 and a blue for a 3/2 Murfolk Wizard with Flash. When it enters the battlefield, counter up to 1 target activated or triggered ability. If an ability of an artifact, creature, or planeswalker is countered this way, that permanent loses all abilities for as long as Tishana's Tidebender remains on the battlefield.
Gross. That's really dirty.
So they use an activated, triggered ability of an artifact, creature, or planeswalker. You flash this in to stifle it, and then it stays stifled
forever until this goes away.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
It's not bad for 3 mana. Seems good to me.
Doesn't work on lands though, so if you like stifle their fetch and they don't get to get the land, it doesn't like just keep that away.
Yeah,
but the
obviously
gone anyway, I guess. So
mana abilities, obviously you can't stifle too. But yeah, this is amazing for really anything that they're using. Creatures, artifacts, those are usually the big targets for stuff like this.
It's pretty cool.
All right, that's blue. Blue's got some crazy stuff, man. Lots of things that can really be used to really go off. There's a lot of control stuff. Definitely things.
Yeah, artifact and control stuff. It seemed like.
Yeah. Seems pretty fun. All right. Next we got black. Corey's color here. First thing, we have the god right off the bat here. Aklazat's Deepest Betrayal. It is 3 black for a 4/4 legendary bat god creature.
Heck
It
yeah.
has that's pretty sick. Has flying and lifelink. Whenever Akhlazad's attacks, each opponent discards a card. For each opponent who can't, you draw a card. Okay, so that's like a rack payoff. Let's go. Whenever an opponent discards a land card, create a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying. And then whenever he dies, return it to the battlefield tapped and transformed under its owner's control as Temple of the Dead, which is a land. It taps for a black. And then you can also pay 2 and a black and tap it, transform Temple of the Dead, activate only if a player has 1 or fewer cards in hand and only as a sorcery.
Yeah, so it comes back as this, and if someone had no cards in their hand, you just play it back. The cool thing is if this is your commander,
yeah.
you're just like, all right, does anyone have only 1 card in their hand? If that's the case, I'll play it as the land. Otherwise, I'm going to put it back in the command zone and just cast it again.
Yeah, you can choose.
Unless they exile it, then you have to just put it in the command zone. But
yeah.
This is good, though, right? Because it attacks, make them draw, to make you draw a card. And if they pitch lands, which is what people are most likely going to pitch, you get a 1/1. And then you put like Waste Not and all those other discard effects in your deck.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Basically make a rack deck. Like,
yeah, and like it's a 5
just
for
not have a hand.
5 for a 4/4 flying lifelink. And like if they can't discard, which because that's what's bad about discard decks, right? Is normally
once
like
they're out,
once they're out of cards, it's like, oh, what does it do? Well, this draws you a card then because they can't discard.
Yeah.
So
yeah, which is awesome. I mean, you actually get a payoff for like doing what you're trying to do. So that's pretty cool. Really good card.
It's cool artwork too.
Yeah, this artwork is incredible.
All right, next up we got Bloodletter of Alcalad. So whatever. So the Bloodletter of that god guy.
The god.
1 and black. So 1 and 3 blacks. So 4 mana for a 2/4 creature that's a vampire demon with flying. If an opponent would lose life during your turn, they lose twice that much life instead.
That's really good. So good old use this with the one that halves their life total, so they just die. That's always a fun little combo to do.
Yeah. Or just attack them for 20 and they just die.
Yeah, that's always nice.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely gonna have to be in the mono black deck code because 3 pips is a lot. So
yeah, or you have to have a lot of duels.
Or you have lots of land management. If you are trying to put this in a more than one colored deck, for sure, that would be harder to pull off. Next up here we got Bringer of the Last Gift. It is 6 black for a 6/6 vampire demon creature with flying. When Bringer of the Last Gift enters the battlefield, if you cast it, each player sacrifices all other creatures they control. Then each player returns all creature cards from their graveyard that weren't put there this way to the battlefield. Okay, so like flips.
Yeah, it's kind of like what's that one Living Death that like flips your board and yard.
So you're basically you're wanting to play this when they have boards but have nothing in the graveyard, or their graveyards are exiled or something.
I don't know. It's very situational. I feel like
yeah,
these effects usually are worse than you think they're going to be. So you definitely have to build around it.
Yeah,
it costs 8
mana for that. Yeah, that's a lot.
I'd rather if I wanted that effect, I'd just play was it Living Death or whatever it is, or
play like Reaver Demon,
End,
which is
it's one of those things. But that only costs like 5-6 mana versus 8. Like I don't really care that it's on a 6/6 flyer.
Yeah, it doesn't really do much else. It's just kind of
Yeah, it's just like, it's a 6/6 flyer. Okay.
Like this is like really,
especially the commander. Like half the time, this is gonna be like, okay, we all have all of our best things now that got killed earlier. Like, so now it's a stalemate versus whatever the board was at before.
This is really counting on the fact that you're like hardcore going the reanimator route and have a shit ton of stuff in your graveyard. And,
you have to have a shit ton of good stuff that's better than your opponent's stuff.
This is going to be pretty hard to set up usually for that much mana too. That's a lot of mana.
Next up, we got Corpses of the Lost. 2 and a black for an enchantment. Skeletons you control get +1/+1 at
Skellies.
haste. Whenever Corpses of the Lost enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 black skeleton pirate creature token. And at the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, you may pay 1 life. If you do, return Corpses of the Lost to its owner's hand.
So it's got recursion. Sick.
Yeah, it's counted as descended if a permanent card was put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn. So play this, get a 3/2 Skelly with haste, and you can flicker it back to your own hand later to play it again.
Wait, so you just, even if you're like, if something dies, that counts? That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Right?
well, as long as it's a permanent. So like the token
Yeah.
won't count because that's getting
Right, yeah, that won't count. But yeah, any actual card.
Mhm.
Hell yeah. So like this just comes, this will keep coming back. Yeah, so like you sack shit, this comes back.
Yeah, or I mean, you could blink it yourself too and just keep getting.
Or yeah, obviously you can do that too.
But yeah, so
let's be
it
real. You're playing
has,
black. You're going to be
yeah, it kind of
sacrificing.
has the, you get a 3/2 haster for 3, and then it has the upside of, if you have some stuff die, you can, replay it later. So by itself without having to build around it.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting to see how many like skeletons there are.
Yeah,
Magic.
I was just about to ask that.
I kind of want to make a skeleton deck now with everything
like,
having
this
+1/+1
is really
haste.
good for Skelly Travel, if that is even a thing.
I don't even know if there's a good commander for that, but maybe there will be in this set. We'll see.
We'll find out. Who knows? Next up,
this overall is an okay card, right? Like it's not great.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It's fine. Like it's
basically you're getting a 3-mana 3/2 haste at the worst if you never trigger the bottom effect, which is like medium. It's not like a rare, but it's not like a horrible card.
Probably will, I would feel, in black. That's not hard to trigger.
Well, yeah, you're probably gonna just sacrifice shit off and then do it immediately.
Yeah. No problem at all. Like you cannot make an army out of this pretty, easy enough. And if there is like skeleton like synergy, then this can be pretty good for that. Next up, we got Preacher of the Schism. It is 2 and a black for a 2/4 vampire cleric creature with death touch. Whenever Preacher of the Schism attacks the player with the most life or tied for the most life, create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. Whenever Preacher of the Schism attacks while you have the most life or are tied for the most life, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Okay, interesting. So it's always a battle of life totals here with this, it looks like.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the old dethrone thing, except for this is triggering if you're attacking this person with the most life, you get a 1/1 vampire lifelinker. But then when you have the most life, instead of it doing nothing like dethrone would, you will draw a card and lose a life.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it actually gives you, again, you're being rewarded for like what you're trying to do. It's like, yeah, card draw, always good. Especially in black, because I feel like black has some ways.
And I mean, it's a 3-mana 2/4 death touch, so it's a pretty good blocker too.
Yeah, so that'll block lots of things. It's got a pretty decent butt, which is nice.
Next up, we got the Queen's Bay Paladin. There's 3 black for a 5/4 vampire knight. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, return up to 1 target vampire card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. You lose life equal to its mana value, which the finality counter is if a creature with a finality counter would die, exile instead. So 5 mana 5/4 reanimate.
Yeah. Basically, you reanimate it with persist, kind of, because that's kind of what, wasn't that what persist was?
No, persist would just
or just had -1/-1. Yeah. Okay.
It's like you're bringing it back with like a, what do you call it? Like a Goryo's Vengeance, but you're losing the life like you would from reanimate.
Right.
But it stays until it dies.
Until it dies and it's gone.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
It's nice because this triggers on ETB and attacking.
Yeah, so it's like a Titan, basically.
So you can keep on doing it. So this is good in Vampire deck.
Yeah. Vampire Synergy, very, very good for that. Bring back your, freaking whatever you're playing in.
You're going to need a lot of life to gain and expend with, but
I feel like vampires, you can definitely do that.
Yeah.
They definitely do stuff like that, so you can definitely manage it, I would think. That's a cool card, though. I'd love to see like how it would actually work out in a deck like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure our friend Alper Markov probably wouldn't mind that. Next up, we got Souls of the Lost. It is 1 and a black for a star +1 spirit creature. As an additional cost to cast the spell, discard a card or sacrifice a permanent. Then it's got Fathomless Descent. Souls of the Lost power is equal to the number of permanent cards in your graveyard, and its toughness is equal to that number +1.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad. So
It's a
you
little
will
bit better than
always,
creatures because they'll count lands and artifacts and stuff.
yeah. So you'll always have something, even if you have nothing in your graveyard when you play this, because you have to discard something
Or
or sack
sacrifice
something.
something.
So
I mean, you could
will have
just
power,
you could 2 mana sack one of your lands, and then you have a 2 mana 1/2.
which is not great.
No, it's not.
You're probably looking for something that'll make it much bigger than that, but and all you have to do is sack.
I mean,
something.
it's better than like a Lahugahoif, right? Because like,
Yeah,
or a Mortivore or whatever it is. Well, it's equal to all your
yeah.
creatures in graveyard because this is like it counts other stuff than not just creatures. So
Yeah, it's not too bad. I think this is pretty good. Honestly, it's very cheap.
kind of wish I had flying. I mean, it's a spirit, but
Yeah, it'd
whatever.
be nice if it had something else.
It's not bad. It's not great. It's
Yeah.
not bad. It's
Yeah,
like a
it's all
medium
right.
card. Next up, we got the Stalker. Stalker.
It's still
One-
like great.
Yeah, okay. 1 black for a 1/1 Goblin Rogue with Menace. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Pay 2 and a black, sacrifice it. Target creature gets -X till end turn, where X is its power.
Okay.
That's really good for a 1-drop.
That is, yeah, that's a really good 1-drop.
1-drop, 1/1 Menace, and then anytime something goes to graveyard, it's gonna get bigger.
It's gonna get bigger.
And then
you
later, you could just
wipe
blow
something
something
out.
out. Yeah. And you could do that at instant speed. So if they try and kill it, you just, okay, I'm going to kill something.
Like, all right, I'm going to kill your whatever.
Like, it's a lot of value out of a
it.
1-drop.
Yeah, that's a ton of value out of 1-drop. Yeah, like, and if you get this big enough, it's just like, they try to bomb you. So it's like, okay, I kill it.
Yeah, and like first turn you play this, you're still going to get in for a few turns because nobody's going to have 2 creatures out for a while.
Yeah, most
so
likely
keep getting
not.
in for 1 at least.
And then it's going to get bigger, and it's going to get bigger, most likely. As long as something dies or whatever, or you discard something. Yeah, it's very good. Very good value for 1 mana. Next up, we got Starving Revenant. It is 2 black for a 4/4 spirit horror creature. When Starving Revenant enters the battlefield, surveil 2. Then for each card you put on top of your library, you draw a card and lose 3 life. Then it has Descend 8. So whenever you draw a card, if there are 8 or more permanent cards in your graveyard, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life.
So Surveil 2 is good because you could pitch the stuff you don't want. But if you want to draw them, you could just leave them on top and take 6.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting.
Draw 2, take 6. That's interesting. It's a pretty good card.
Yeah, it's 4/4/4,
especially like a self-mill type thing, because like 4/4/4 that like whenever you draw a card later, they're gonna lose life and gain life. Like especially like Nekusar or something.
It's really good.
Like, once you have 8 permanents in the graveyard because you've been wheeling, you just like, oh, do this, and I just drawed 7. You lose 7, I gain 7. Like,
yeah, it's like, okay.
This is also good with like Dark Deal if you have the Descend.
Yeah, this works well with a lot of stuff like that. Lots of millstone decks, or like wheel decks, whatever. Yeah, this is gonna do some work.
Oh yeah, or if you just want self mill, it's good too.
Yeah. Yeah, and you kind of like even like a reanimator deck, honestly, because that's kind of what you're doing with it. Works in that too. So,
all right. Next up, we got Tyrions Journal. 1 and a black for a legendary artifact. It has tap, sacrifice another artifact or creature, draw a card, activate only as a sorcery. Pay 2, tap it, discard your hand, transform this into the Tome of Alkalatzatz or whatever. Anyways, it's a legendary land cave. Taps for a black. And then it also has tap. You may cast a creature spell from your graveyard this turn. If you do, it enters the battlefield with a finality counter on it, and it's a vampire in addition to its other types.
Okay.
So this is really good in my decks.
Yeah, very, very good for you.
Because being able to sacrifice a creature or an artifact to draw a card is good. And then when I have no cards in my hand, I can just pay 2 and pitch my hand, transform it, and then start playing stuff from my graveyard. That seems good.
Mm-hmm. So you just play through them again, basically.
Yep.
I mean, hey, that's what Black likes to do, so there you go.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's really good. For 2 mana, too. Very, very good. Very powerful. Next, we got Terrortide. It is 2 black for a sorcery. It's sorcery with Fathomless Descent. All creatures get -X until end of turn, where X is the number of permanent cards in your graveyard.
So this is
wow.
most likely going to be a board wipe when you cast.
This is going to be a hell of a board wipe, and this will hit.
You definitely have to build around self-milling, though, and stuff, because like there's some decks where this is going to be terrible.
I feel like in a lot of black decks, though, this will probably be pretty good.
Like even on the Carador deck, I put so much stuff in the graveyard. Like
exactly.
This
like
is most time going to be like a -5 or more.
And the fact that it does minus damage, like this will hit everything pretty much no matter what. It doesn't matter if they're indestructible. It doesn't matter if like whatever the bullshit they have going on. You usually can't deal with minus counters. Like they will die.
Yeah, the only way around it would be like Teferi's Protection and phase them out.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only way. Yeah, some way to like grant some kind of or like remove them from the battlefield in response or something. But like, yeah, this will kill.
Or
stuff.
buff your creature high enough to live through it. But.
Right. Yeah, it's a good board wipe.
And that's it for black.
That's black. Yeah. Wow.
I think the God is by far the best card.
Yeah, the God's really good.
The Vampire is good, and the Artifact's
that Stalactite Stalker is amazing. The Journal's really good. Like, yeah, it's got some good stuff. All right, so you got red.
Red here, we got Bone Horde Dracosaur first. 3 red for a 5/5 Dinosaur Dragon.
Awesome.
Flying first strike. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. If you exile a land card this way, create a 3/1 dinosaur creature token. If you exiled a non-land card this way, create a treasure token. Okay.
Ooh,
why
okay.
Impulse Draw and you get benefits from it? It's on top of that? So if you whiff into 2 lands, you get 2 3/1s?
That's really good.
And if you hit stuff you can actually cast, you get refunded by getting treasure tokens to help cast
here's some free land. Have fun.
This is good. This is bonkers. This is exactly what Red wants.
Yeah, this is everything Red wants. And it's a 5/5 flying dragon with first strike.
Red for 5. Like this is pretty good in Dragon because you can play it for 4 mana.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 4 mana. 4 for a 5/5 flying first strike with this impulse draw bullshit. I'd play that in a fucking instant.
Yeah, that's good.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's a good card.
Yeah, Red's starting off strong here. With some
this is unusual. Red's usually the weak killer, but yeah, Red's got some punches in this set. Next up, we got Brass's Tunnel Grinder. It is 2 and a red for a legendary artifact. When Brass's Tunnel Grinder enters the battlefield, discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards +1. Oh, look, more impulse draw.
Well, it's more like a wheel, but yeah.
Well, yeah. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, put a bore counter on Brass's Tunnel Grinder. Then, if there are 3 or more bore counters on it, remove those counters and transform it. So then it transforms into Teku'tlan, the Searing Rift, which is a legendary land. It also counts as a cave, if that means anything. Can tap it for a red mana. Whenever you cast a permanent spell using mana produced by this land, discover X, where X is that spell's mana value.
Yeah, and Discover is basically like fixed Cascade. So it's like, so if it's like Discover 6, you flip it until you get something that costs 6 or less, and then you can cast it for free or put it in your hand. So if you choose not to cast it, instead of putting it on the bottom, you get it in your hand.
Which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
For
So
sure.
it's
Gives you a-
really good. So basically, you're getting a free spell off of whatever you cast.
Yeah.
It's great.
So yeah, that's a pretty cool card. So you basically get like a wheel effect on yourself. If you don't like your hand, this will be what you want to do.
And then later, when you can flip it, you get tons of value.
You get all the value, man. It's a pretty cool land.
Next up, we got Breaches, the Eager Pillager. So Breaches is back. 2 and a red for a 3/3 legendary creature, Goblin Pirate. It has first strike. Whenever a pirate you control attacks, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Create a treasure token. Target creature can't block. Exile a top card of your library. You may play it this turn.
Ooh, nice.
So you get to trigger this 3 times a turn.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, especially if you have multiple pirates.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty nice.
3 mana, 3/3 first striker. If you have 2 other pirates and you swing with them all, you get a treasure, make something not block, and impulse draw when it attacks.
Yeah, that's
pretty good.
Honestly, that's some really good value. I mean, even if you're just like attacking with this, you can make something not block, and you like
right, like that's good for an aggro deck. Like in a burn deck, you want that effect. So
that's what you're going for usually.
And if you need cards, you can impulse draw. Well, you can just get mana. So it seems good. I think this is a really good card.
Like 3 first strike is pretty awesome. So then, like you can usually
like
kind of go
fringe. It's fringe on where it might be played in like competitive burn decks.
Yeah,
because 3 mana is like, like usually it has to be really good, like Rabblemaster. But this is like it could draw you some cards, can get blockers out of the way, and it has first strike, so it's going to win all the ties.
Yep, which is really good, and it's 3 power first strike too, which is pretty high.
Yeah,
that's going to get through a lot of stuff, and then like what it can't get through, it'll just not block it. So that's not bad at all.
Yeah, so far every red card has been pretty playable, like pretty good.
I'd say so.
Like I'd play them all so far.
We'll see how this next one is. It's Dire Flail, which is a red for an artifact. This is an equipment. Equip creature gets +2/+0. It has equip 1, and then it has craft with artifact for 3 red, and exile this artifact, exile another artifact you control, or an artifact card from your graveyard, and then return this transformed under its owner's control. So it transforms into Dire Blunderbuss, which is an artifact that's an equipment. Equipped creature gets +3/+0 and has whenever this creature attacks, you may sacrifice an artifact other than this. When you do, this creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature, and it has equip 1.
I think it's good for my Voltron equipment deck.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, a 1-drop equipment that gives +2/+0 is pretty good. Like
that by itself is not bad.
That actually might be even good enough to play in like limited.
Yeah.
And then if you craft it later and you have enough artifacts, like if you build around that, it's like sacrifice it and you're just going to keep hitting people or creatures for damage.
So I'm trying to remember, what was that Kamigawa equipment that was like really, was it Nodachi was the one that was like +2/+0 or something like that, and it was like,
yeah, it was like 2/2 and first strike.
And it was like something. 2 and then 1 to equip, and like that was like played forever.
Yeah,
and this is honestly kind of better than that, I think, with extra shit,
Yeah, you do have to pay 5 to get it to the other side,
which is a.
That's why I think this will be good and limited, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it is a 1-drop, so like, and it's just like if you have 5 mana sitting there.
I feel like just playing it as the flail is not bad.
No,
like,
I mean, +2/+0. It's pretty good.
Yeah. And then I guess if you have the extra mana laying around, sure, turn it into
Yeah.
the gun. Like
The blunderbuss gun, yeah.
yeah.
Which is like, and it's still only a +3/+0, and you can ping some shit, hit some shit, but
yeah, hit something directly, which I don't know how good that is normally as an effect, but
it's okay.
It's target.
It's definitely
creature,
okay. I don't know. The more I read it, the more I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll have to be beaten with it a few times before I could play it, probably, because like I have a weird thing with equipment. If it's not bonkers good, I don't really want to play it. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
I'm kind of the same way. Like it's not JIT. It's not,
I do feel it's going to be. I do feel that it's power level high enough to be good in limited. Because they've been having a real issue with equipment in limited just being terrible.
Yeah,
like,
this is
because it always has equip more than one. So
yeah, this is a very fine, low cost, equipment for like an aggro low mana deck for sure. Because it's 1 mana, pay another mana, you get an extra 2. Like that's pretty nice. And then I don't know. The other side is kind of whatever, but
all right, next up we got Hit the Motherlode. Sweet card name.
Nice.
4 red, red, red. Discover 10. Oh, if the discovered card's mana value is less than 10, create a number of tapped treasure tokens equal to the difference. And then again, Discover 10 is exile cards at the top of your library until you exile a non-land card with mana value 10 or less. Cast it without paying its mana cost, or put it into your hand and put the rest of the cards on the bottom in a random order.
So basically, you get whatever you're casting, and you're for funding different.
Basically, it's 7 mana for 10 mana worth of card.
Yeah,
because you'll get whatever you cast, and then the difference in treasures. So
that's not bad, depending on what you hit.
Yeah, so you hit treasure with the pirates apparently because you hit them a little.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Cool art or looting the treasure room.
That's cool. Next up we got the Inti Seneskull of the Sun. It is a 2/2 for a legendary human knight creature. Whenever you attack, you may discard a card. When you do, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature. It gains trample until end of turn. Whenever you discard one or more cards, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card until your next end step.
2 mana 2/2, attack, pitch a card, put a 1/1 counter on something and give it trample.
Yeah.
And then when you pitch the card, you're also going to impulse draw the next card off the top. Yeah. So it's not even really like you care that you're discarding. This is good, really good.
Yeah, this is sick.
Red deck wins, anybody? Let's go.
I feel like does red give trample very often? That's more of a green effect.
There's been some red pumps recently that have given trample.
Yeah,
but
that's pretty cool. This is a powerhouse. I feel this is gonna do a lot.
This is a really good card, I think.
Like red aggro loves everything about this, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, you put this on turn 2, you're immediately going to be swinging with a 3/3 trample next turn.
Yeah, like no matter what, basically. And then you're immediately basically setting up like something else like next turn. So like basically guaranteed. So yeah, this is awesome. This is really good.
Next up, we got the Magmatic Galleon. So it's a pirate ship floating on lava, it looks like.
That's pretty sick.
3 red, so 5 mana for a 5/5 artifact vehicle. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 5 damage to target creature and opponent controls. And whenever one or more creatures your opponents control are dealt excess non-combat damage, you create a treasure token, and its crew cost is only 2.
Dang.
That's pretty good. I mean, you get to deal 5 damage to something, and if you overkill it, you get a treasure. And if you have a lot of other burn spells in your deck, you can get some more treasures.
If you're red, you most likely do.
Yeah. It's really cool artwork.
Yeah, this is a cool card. Yeah, it's really 5 for 5 damage. Like That's not bad.
Yeah, it's like a lava X to a creature.
Yeah. But then it also has a 5/5 and can do other stuff.
Yep. Yeah, so it's like a 5 damage, kill a creature at worst,
Yeah.
and at best,
And then
you're left with a 5/5. So
yeah, so you're gonna tap
crew
your
over
like
here.
2 goblins from Rabblemaster or something, and then you have a 5/5 swinging. Like, yeah, sure, seems good. Definitely not bad. All right, we got the Red God next. It is Ogier Axonil, Deepest Might. It is 2 red for a 4/4 legendary god creature. It has trample. If a red source you control would deal an amount of non-combat damage less than Ogier Axonil's power to an opponent, that source deals damage equal to his power instead. Whenever he dies, return it to the battlefield tapped and transformed under its owner's control, which is Temple of Power, which is a land. Tap it, add a mana, or add a red mana, and then you can also pay 2 to red to tap and tap it. Transform Temple of Power. Activate only if red sources you control dealt 4 or more non-combat damage this turn, and only as a sorcery.
They use such a good name for this, Temple of Power. But so this front side is like it can be bonkers good, right? Like you play this as your commander or something. You just fill your deck with like those 1 mana deal 1 damage to your opponent cards, like Lava Dart. Oh, you're taking 4 now because
I take 4.
Yeah. Oh, just like all stuff like that. They take 4 instead.
As any red source, like red elemental blast. Now you take 4.
Well, no, it's if it does non-combat damage to the opponent.
Yeah.
The red elemental blast counter.
Or no, that destroys shit. What's the other one? Pyroblast.
Yeah, Pyroblast. Yeah, you take 4.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
2
to all
you take
4 instead of 1. Whatever. Like burst lightning. Well, now you take 4.
Pyroclasm. That's what it is.
Oh yeah.
Pyroblast is the same thing as red elemental blast, but different name. But yeah, Lava Dart would be good too. Bolt is like whatever goes up to 3. But if you could buff this. Like if you have something to pump this up to like a 10/4, just be like, I hit you for 10, I hit you for 10, I hit you for 10.
Like, oops.
Like my 1 mana cards.
Like you're gonna chunk their life down pretty freaking quickly without much help. If you do find a way to pump this up, which I'm sure there's a way to do that. Do some kind of Gruul deck or something where you put some green buffs in it or something, and then you just fling spells at them and they take like 10 or something. Like, yeah, that seems good. Yeah, it's got a lot of potential for sure.
Next up, we got Poetic Ingenuity. 2 and a red for an enchantment. Whenever 1 or more dinosaurs you control attack, create that many treasure tokens. And whenever you cast an artifact spell, create a 3/1 red dinosaur creature token. This ability triggers only once each turn.
Ooh, okay. So dinosaur synergy, sick.
Yeah, this is bonkers for a dino deck because you're going to draw or make a shit ton of treasures.
So much treasure.
You're going to get dinos once a turn when you cast artifacts. This is really good. Like, I mean, assuming you build around it. If you don't, you could put it in an artifact deck too, just to make a bunch of dinos.
Yeah, just make tokens.
But like, without having the artifacts or dinos, then you're not playing this.
Yeah, obviously it's pointless.
Yeah. But it's good in the decks that you play it in.
Yeah, this is excellent, and yeah, artifacts or dinosaurs or both. Honestly, yeah. Speaking of which, we got Trumpeting Carnosaur. It is 4 red for a 7/6 dinosaur creature with trample. When Trumpeting Carnosaur enters the battlefield, discover 5. So you get 5 or less into play off your deck. You can also pay 2 and a red. Discard this card. It deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker.
So if it's in your hand, you could just discard it to
pitch and deal 3 to something. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, this seems good in like a reanimate style deck too, right? Because you pitch it, deal 3, and then you just reanimate it. You have a 7/6 trampler, and you get something off your deck that costs 5.
That's really good. You cheat this in? Holy shit, that's a massive value, man.
Yeah, or like keep flickering it.
Oh yeah. ETB it. Oh.
Oh, this with
Oh.
that looter guy where you could cast it for free when you discard
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love that. Oh my god. What the fuck was that card called? Oh yeah, the
the blue guy. This is like
oh, it was a
looter
blue.
effect.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
further up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really that'd be so stupid. Here, have my 7/6 fucking dinosaur. Have fun for free, and then something else that costs 5 or less,
Yep.
which
This
is
a good
probably going to
card.
be
I
something
like
else big.
this
Yeah, this is
dinosaur.
insane. It's got a lot of utility to it, and just value. It's value city. So yeah, that's red. I feel like there was a couple whiffs in here, but honestly, for the most part, not bad. That's good. Really good for
Red had
aggro.
Red had some really strong cards. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some cards that were just like meh, but there's some really
there's some medium cards for sure, but there's some really good stuff for aggro and also really good stuff for like dinosaur tribal stuff. So yeah. All right. Green.
Yeah, so we got Bedrock Tortoise first. 3 green for a 0/6 turtle. As long as it's your turn, creatures you control have hexproof. Each creature you control with toughness greater than its power assigns combat damage equal to its toughness.
Oh, it's one of these cards.
So basically, 4 mana 6/6.
4 mana 6/6. Let's go. Let's go.
4 mana 6/6 hexproof. How about that?
So put this in like a tree folk deck or something like that, just big butt deck, and then now they're fucking
or
like
just I don't know how many turtles there are, but turtle deck. Turtle.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some or / tortoises. Yeah,
it's nice though because you don't have to play. You could because like it just says creatures that have toughness greater than its power. So like, if you play like an 8/8, it doesn't matter. You can still keep your 8/8 like or 8/7 or whatever. So
right. So there's no downside, which is good because
there's no downside. Because sometimes like it makes them do toughness, and then it's like my 8/4 is bad. Like.
Now it's only dealing 4 damage. That's unfortunate. But no, this is really good. This can definitely in the right kind of deck, especially like a big butt deck. This will definitely do some work.
Oh yeah.
Next up we got Cosmium Confluence. It is 4 and a green for a sorcery. Choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. Search your library for a cave card. Okay, so that is a thing. I did notice a couple lands had that. Put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Or put 3+1/+1 counters on a cave you control. It becomes a 0/0 elemental creature with haste. It's still a land. Or destroy target enchantment.
Nice.
So cave synergy, I guess, is a thing.
Yeah, I'm guessing there's a couple of rare lands.
Yeah.
There's a couple of rare lands. I think there's some uncommon lands as well. So the search your library one's not going to work for the flip cards, I don't think, because you always have to check the front side.
Right, yeah.
But if they're in play flipped, you could definitely do the second part on it and make them into
bigger.
A 3/3 haster.
Turn them into man lands, basically. Yeah, which is pretty cool. And then the destroyed enchantment's like fine, I guess. Like it's very green, of course, but
I mean, yeah, like this is horrible if you don't have a caves in your deck, right?
Yeah, like you're playing this for that. That's why you're playing this. Yeah, you're not paying 5 mana to destroy 3 enchantments. That just doesn't feel good.
Yeah, that's bad. So like you have to have goes in a deck that deals with caves, which I don't know how many there are in the set. This
seems to be a new thing in this set, so we'll have to see what that looks like.
I mean, for all I know, the commander decks have a deck built around this, and then you can put this in there. But I feel like this is definitely constructed / commander card building around it, and it's terrible otherwise. Like it's freaking the worst rare ever otherwise.
Otherwise, like this is kind of like when Eye of Ugin came out, like in Zendikar, where it's like, well, this is kind of like a sleeper card, but kind of a wait and see.
Yeah.
How it goes, because that was like before Eldrazi were even a thing.
Right. Because it's like this, like 5 mana destroy 3 enchantments is horrible.
Yeah, that's not good.
So, because you can
I
pay
would much
3
rather
mana to do
play.
that. So,
I'd rather play 3 mana for aura shards and just do it
Yeah.
indefinitely as long as I play a creature. Like, there's way better cards for that. So yeah, we'll have to see how the cave synergy, happens here in the future.
Next up, we got Ghalta, the Stampede Tyrant. 5 green for a legendary creature, Elder Dinosaur. It's a 12/12 with trample, and just like the other Ghalta, it's bonkers. When it enters the battlefield, put any number of creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield.
Dear God, for 8 mana? That's insane.
I mean, yeah, 8 mana, play everything in your hand. But, I mean, by the time you have 8, how many other things do you have?
Yeah, that's
But
true.
if you could cheat this in somehow...
Piper?
Elvish Piper there, so just play every creature in your hand.
Oh yeah, I'll Piper in my 12/12 with trample and play the rest of my shit.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Dear Lord.
It's like a win more. It's like a win more card. Like it's a 12/12 trample that gives you more ways to win the game. Like it's basically just win the game.
Yeah,
like, let me play my 12/12 trampler and then I'll play my Crater Hoof for free.
Yeah, it's exactly. I think I win. Yeah, that's
it's
disgusting.
cool though. It's going to be a fun thing, like especially for commander. You're just like, sweet.
This is a fun way to win.
This actually could be your commander, which is hilarious.
Yeah, dinosaur deck, commander deck. Hello.
Like, okay, I'm going to play this. Drop my hand. And just ramp up to 8 mana and just hold your creatures, and just drop them all.
Yeah, this is just silly. Yeah, really good if you have a hand especially built up. And on its own, 8 for a 12/12 trample, that's pretty good too. So yeah, it's definitely well statted. All right, Huatli is back as a non-planeswalker here. It is Huatli, Poet of Unity. 2/3 legendary human warrior bard creature. When Huatli, Poet of Unity, enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. And then you can pay 3 and then hybrid Boros, so 5 total, so outside of the green, mono green. Exile him, then her. Exile, then return her to the battlefield, transformed under her owner's control, activate only as a sorcery. And then the transformed is, a saga. Roar of the Fifth People. Interesting. Chapter 1, create 2 3/3 green dinosaur creature tokens. Chapter 2, Roar of the Fifth People gains creatures you control have tap, add red, green, or white. Was that
Naya? Yeah. Naya.
Chapter 3, search your library for a dinosaur card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. And Chapter 4, dinosaurs you control gain double strike and trample until end of turn. So this is a lot of stuff here.
Yeah, and then it gets sacrificed. But so as a commander, you could play a Naya deck, like Naya dinosaur deck. Seems pretty good.
Yeah, it seems really good. And this would count as the 3 pips because it's in the command activated ability. Yeah. This is kind of a cool card.
Yeah, it seems pretty cool. I mean, you obviously would want dinosaurs. I mean, I guess you could play it with not any dinosaurs, but you in Chapter 3 would not do anything.
Yeah, you probably want to though.
Like you at least want like 1 or 2 things. Well, because Chapter 4 will at least give the 2 tokens, trample and double strike.
That's true, yeah.
But
you really rather have more
better. But like even if you play this as your commander, you don't have to necessarily build it on the dinosaur part, and you could just stick a couple of good dinosaurs in your deck to get one from number 3.
Yeah. So. I mean, this is great in a dinosaur deck though because it basically starts out as
board presence.
Yeah.
You get a land.
It enters with land, so it ramps right away.
Yep.
It's basic.
Well, it ramps for a land in your hand, so you'll hit your land drop on turn 4.
Right, okay, yeah. So it's not like a cultivate or something like that, but you're still ramping, which is good, especially in a deck like that because you're probably going to play expensive stuff. And then you can, as long as literally like the next turn, if you play this on curve,
Well,
3
2
because then you have
turns. You play
4.
this on 3. Turn 4, you play the land you got, and then
Yeah.
so you have 2 turns to draw land. Turn 5, you make
Yeah.
2
Okay. Yeah. So 2
3/3s.
turns. Then
And
you
then
can start.
the next turn, the 3/3s can tap for mana plus whatever else you have in play. Then you get
Then you can start playing
Dinosaur.
this. Yeah, and then
So,
yeah, then you just have mana dorks that can do stuff, which seems pretty good. Because then you can probably ramp up into something big, like the freaking Galta or something like that, or like the Carnivore Sword or the Carnosaur that is fucking 7 damage or whatever the fuck it is, or sorry,
yeah.
Discover 5. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
cool.
there's a lot of utility. This would be great as a commander for a deck like that, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Outside of like a dinosaur deck or like semi-building around it, I don't think it's that good.
Yeah,
But
it's pretty mid otherwise. It needs to be in a tribal like that for it to really be good.
next up, we got the Hulking Raptor. It's 2 green for a 5/3 dinosaur with Ward 2. And at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, add green to your mana pool.
Oh, free mana. Let's go. That's awesome.
Okay, 4 mana 5/3 Ward 2 is pretty good, and then it ramps you every turn.
Yeah, that seems awesome.
2 mana, that's good. Like 2 free
right
mana
off the bat, it gives you 2 freaking mana, so it basically costs 2.
Well, no, because it doesn't hit till your next turn because it triggers at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
So turn 5, you have 6 mana automatically.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
And it's harder for them to remove it because they have to pay an extra 2 to kill it with a kill spell because it has Ward 2. So
yeah, this is sick.
I think that's pretty good. Dinosaur.
Like, sure, they can bolt it, but they have to pay 2 extra to do it.
Yeah, so they have to pay 3 mana to bolt it. Like
that's kind of sad. That doesn't feel good. It's a pretty cool card. And it's just a card that keeps on giving, which is great.
So far, every green card's been good.
Yeah, green has been really hitting hard, man. Next up, we got Intrepid Paleontologist. It is 1 and a green for a 2/2 human druid creature. Tap it, add 1 mana of any color. That's nice. Pay 2, exile target card from a graveyard. Okay, also great. And then you may cast dinosaur creature spells from among cards from you may cast dinosaur creature spells from among cards you own exiled with Intrepid Paleontologist. If you cast a spell this way, that creature enters the battlefield with a finality counter on it.
So, first of all, 2 mana 2/2 tap a mana of any color is fantastic for like
that's really
3+ color decks, right? Like
yeah.
You would play that even without the bottom part in like a 5-color deck.
Yeah.
And then you can hose someone who has a graveyard deck with just the 2 mana. Yeah, and then if you're playing dinosaurs, you can cast them.
Cast them from exile?
Yeah.
It seems really good.
It's good.
But yeah, it has to be cards that you exile though. So it can't be like if someone exiles your graveyard, then you're sad because that
right. Yeah. So you have to exile your own dinosaur from your.
You have to do it yourself.
But you already got a mana dork, which you've probably already used it once or twice. That's good. And then late game, if it sticks around, you get to cast some dinosaurs.
Yeah. Yeah, so this card
it's a mana dork with late game upside because usually mana dorks are kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, usually by the late game you're kind of sad because your Lana Worms are just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah,
this actually is worth a damn. So it's this again, mana dork with a fuck ton of utility, which is awesome.
It's good
for 2 mana too, like really good. Like what's freaking Hierarch, whatever the hell it is, that costs 2 that basically does the same. Or it's 1 mana that does the same thing, but still.
There's a 2 mana one, yeah.
Yeah, I know there's another one.
It's like a 0/3 hex proof or something, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this, 2 mana, 2/2 that adds mana and also other shit. So that's great. Really good utility card for a dinosaur deck or really any green deck or any multicolored deck, really. You play this in a multicolored deck.
You'd probably play it in a mono green deck if you have dinosaurs too.
Yeah, I mean,
if you don't, you just play like Land of Worlds. But
yeah, this is a good card.
Next up, we got Jade Light Spelunker. It's X and a green for a 1/1 Murfolk Scout. When it enters the battlefield, it explores X times.
Okay.
So 2 mana, explore once. 3 mana, explore twice.
So what would you say is like the best amount for exploring?
Well, I mean, I would just jam it on turn 2 probably. But if you really want this to be huge, I guess you could go like, pay like 10 into X or 9 into X, and then it's like, okay, look at the top card. If it's a land, you draw it. If it's not, you just put it in the graveyard and keep doing that, and then you have like a 10/10. But you're probably going to hit a land a third of the time, though. So if you paid 9 for X, so you'd pay 10 mana for like a 7/7, basically be like what it is, and you draw 3 lands. It's not horrible.
Yeah, it's not bad, but you're probably going to do this for
the rate's not the rate's not very good at that point. So like that's what I said. I think you just play it whenever you have.
You're probably going to pay 2 most of the time.
When you don't have a good play that turn and you're trying to find lands, you just play it.
Yeah, or you're desperate for land.
Yeah, maybe, or just turn 2 and you don't have a mana rock. Play this out. Explore the one time.
That's probably going to be what most people are going to do, I feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's an interesting.
But it's not like horrible late game. If you literally have nothing, you could like.
Yeah, like this is what you top deck, then sure, you'll jam it for whatever you got. May as well, I guess. All right. Next, we got the Green God, Ogier Caslam, Deepest Growth. It is 3 green for a 6/5 legendary god creature with trample. Whenever Ogier Caslam deals combat damage to a player, reveal that many cards from the top of your library. What you may put a creature card and or a land card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest onto the battlefield in a random order. When he dies, return it to the battlefield tapped and transformed under its owner's control as Temple of Cultivation. It's a land. You can tap it for a green, or you can pay 2 and a green and tap it to transform Temple of Cultivation. Activate only if you control 10 or more permanents and only as a sorcery. Okay, so you really got to have stuff on the field for that to be good.
Yeah, but it's a 5 mana 6/5 really trample that's gonna get free stuff into play.
Yeah, this
best case you hit a land and a creature and you get both.
Yeah, it's and or, which is awesome. Definitely.
Worst case you hit one of them.
Yeah.
Or you hit all sorceries, but
yeah, then you cry.
In this type of deck, you're probably playing a lot of creatures, so
you're probably not playing many sorceries. So you're probably you're gonna hit something. 6 cards, like that's a lot.
This seems really good. Like I feel like I want to play this to commander and just put like all big ass creatures in my deck and just
this would be
and ramp cards. And that's it. Just attack. Oh, did I get it for free? Okay.
This is great in any like big green deck, honestly. You're just gonna play big ass green creatures and like Crater Hoof, God knows what else, just big shit.
Dinosaur.
Yeah, the dinosaurs. Yeah. Yeah, that one.
Elvish Piper, like just make a cheap stuff in the play deck.
Yeah, this could be really fun. Fun card.
Next up we got Pugnacious Hammer Skull. It's 2 and a green for a 6/6 dinosaur. When it
3 mana, oh god,
3 mana 6/6. When it attacks, while you don't control another dinosaur, put a stun counter on it.
Okay.
Still, it's a 3 mana 6/6.
So if you have another like cheap dinosaur out, this is insane, man.
Yeah,
or even you get a free hit and then you stun it. Sure.
Yeah, and then you stun it for a round, which is whatever. You got a 3 mana 6/6.
Like, what are we gonna do about that?
Right, and if you just play any other dinosaur, you're like, okay, attack with a 6/6. Like, You have a 6/6 for 3.
Like, especially if you get this like later in the game, like it's just like, well, here's 6 for 3 mana.
Yeah.
and you're gonna have something in the field, so it won't get stunned. Like,
This is good too. I'd play this. This is good.
That's really good. That is really good.
It's also good if you just want a 6/6 blocker in your deck, just for 3.
Exactly. Yeah, you just leave it up.
Just play it and then just hang around and then fling it or something.
Nope. That would be funny. Sling 6 damage. Just go. Yeah, this people are like, it's done. That makes it, it's got the downside. Who the fuck cares? Big blocker, or it's still 6 free damage, and then you have to wait a turn. Whatever, who cares?
Right.
This is a good card.
If you have some untap effect, you can get the stun counter off of it too. So.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Which those exist. There's many ways to make this very good. Next up, we got Sentinel of the Nameless City. It is 2 and a green for a 3/4 Murfolk Warrior Scout creature with Vigilance. Whenever Sentinel of the Nameless City enters the battlefield or attacks, create a map token.
I mean, that's pretty good. 3 mana, 3/4 Vigilance. And you get some map tokens, which can help you find some lands.
Yep.
Or buffed creature +1/+1. So.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad at all.
That's a solid creature. 3. I'd play that in a green deck that wants to explore. Yeah. Or wants to make little artifacts to do stuff with.
Oh yeah, like a food token deck or something like that. You got
just something where you can need to sag artifacts for something.
Yeah, this is a great addition to something like that.
Next up, we got the Skullspore Nexus. 6 green, 8 mana for a legendary artifact. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. So you could play it for green, just like the Great Henge if you have a 6/6 out. So let me pay my 3 mana 6/6 and then play 2 mana for this. All right. So whenever one or more non-token creatures you control die, create a green fungus dinosaur creature token with base power and toughness, each equal to the total power and toughness of those creatures.
Oh, God.
And then pay 2 tap, double target creature's power until end of turn.
So you have Volta out, you have a 24/24?
Yeah, my 3 mana 6/6 just died. I get another 6/6 back. But if I could double it and get it even more.
It's a 12/6 now.
Well, yeah, it's like I attack my 6/6. You block. I'm going to make it a 12/6. It's going to die, and then I get a 12/12.
Oh, yeah.
Or you board wipe yourself, and you get a token equal to the total power and toughness of everything you had on the board.
Oh my God, dude. This card is insane.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. It doesn't count tokens, but it doesn't really matter. Just whenever my other stuff dies, I'm going to have a giant creature.
This needs to go in my Devour deck. This is really good. Oh no, they killed my Mycoloth. Oh well, I'll get a freaking big ass, whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
Back in play.
Yep.
Ooh, yeah. This makes everything nice and sticky, which is definitely what you want when you're playing, big green stuff.
Yeah, and if you have stuff that triggers off the dinosaur, the token is a dinosaur. So it's a fungus dinosaur, so it's something that triggers off funguses or dinosaurs.
Yeah. So that's green. Green is insane.
Yeah, every card except for that one to deal with caves was good.
Yeah, and that's a sleeper. We'll see. In the future, that might become really good too. But these other cards are all really, really good, man. So much
green so far is the best color.
Yeah, this is by far the best color, 100%. It's got so much power, so much utility, so much versatility, just in general. This is really, really good.
I guess, so now it's time to see how bonkers they got with the multicolored cards.
Yep, multi-time. Let's see, you read it, right? So it's my turn. All right, so starting with an Azorius Abuelo. Abuelo Ancestral Echo. It is 1 and Azorius for a 2/2 legendary creature spirit. It has flying and ward 2. You can play 1 in Azorius or 1 in white and blue. Exile another target creature or artifact you control. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So
all right, remember all of those creatures we were saying if you could flicker this? Here's a
here you
creature that
go.
flickers.
Here's your flicker right here, guys. Or if someone like
you can draft it. They're limited. You can draft it.
Let's
you draft
do it.
Flicker
We have a way.
Let's go.
We found a way. Life found a way, as Jeff Goldblum says.
Would say, yeah.
Oh, this is great. And this is also great if like someone's trying to steal your shit. You just flicker it and it comes back under your control. So great.
Yep. Plus, it's a 3-mana 2/2 flying ward too, so it's kind of.
So they're gonna have a lot of trouble getting rid of this.
And it's a spirit, so you can play it in some spirit decks or whatever. So
yep,
it's a pretty good card.
It's sick, good card. Does a lot.
Next up, we got the Ancient One. It is a blue and a black legendary creature spirit god. So it's a 2-mana 8/8. Descend 8. Can't attack or block unless there are 8 or more permanents in your graveyard. So it can't do anything unless you have stuff in your graveyard.
That's very fair.
Still 2-mana 8/8.
8/8, guys.
2 blue-black, draw a card, then discard a card. When you discard a card this way, target player mills cards equal to its mana value. So you could activate that, pitch something, and mill yourself just to turn this 8/8 into an attacker.
Right away, yeah.
Or you can just start milling your opponents off to death.
Yep. And this is Dimir, so yeah, you got black in the color identity. You're probably okay with that. And Nekizar also falls within those colors, I'm pretty sure. So that also fits the bill.
Yeah, this is a good card.
This has got a lot. Packs a punch.
8/8. This is insane.
This is, what the hell?
It's a 2-mana 8/8. Okay, can't attack or block, but I could still like fling it or something like that. Like
yeah, like I play it and then I fling it. I do 8 damage.
I can do the thing where like you set for the other black card. It's like sacrifice a creature you control, draw cards equal to its power. Like okay,
right.
Sack my 2-mana 8/8 to draw 8 cards. Seems good. Like what? And it has a looting effect on the card that helps you self-mill.
Exactly.
Like, you could build this as a commander and just do a self-mill deck, too. With, like, all the stuff you can play from the graveyard. Like,
yeah, so you just reanimate fucking everything. You don't care. And you also have a fucking 8/8 as your damn commander.
Right.
And you get to run the commander attacks. It only costs 2.
Right, exactly. And then late game, when you have the Descend, it's like, all right, 2-mana 8/8.
Let's go!
I think this card is really good.
This has lots of potential, man. It has a lot going for it.
You definitely have to build around it to make it work, but as soon as it's on, it's insane.
You can't just willy-nilly throw it in a Dimir deck. It's like not going to work. Like you gotta play for it. But as long as you build like the deck right, and honestly, you don't have to like work real hard to do that because this kind of falls into what those colors do anyway. Right. So as long as you have some stuff you can reanimate, or you have some,
and it can help churn your own stuff in the graveyard too. So
like you'll be a-okay, and you'll have an 8/8 that costs nothing. So awesome.
It's also a 2-mana commander that if you can make infinite mana, you could just insta win with like Thassa's Oracle or something.
Yeah, you can. No way to make Thassa's Oracle just insane. I love that.
Or Lab Man or one of those effects, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple that definitely work with that.
So a 3-mana 6/6 and a 2-mana 8/8 in this set.
Yep, we're doing good, guys. Jesus Christ. All right, well, moving on. We got another Dimir card. It's Whale of the Forgotten, which is just Dimir, blue-black, for a sorcery. Also has Descend 8. Choose 1. If there are 8 or more permanent cards in your graveyard as you cast the spell, choose 1 or more instead. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's control. Target opponent discards a card. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard.
So 2-mana bounce or 2-mana discard, or that if you just play it for 2. But if you get it late game, you get all 3.
You get all 3, which is pretty awesome.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. Real cheap.
I mean, the reason it's rare is because it's 2 mana for all those effects, basically.
Yeah, it's a lot of effects for 2.
Yeah, you'll play it if
Yeah.
you're in a self-mill deck. Otherwise, you probably won't. But
Yeah.
because like there's better cards than 2-mana bounce or 2-mana discard or 2-mana draw a card. But,
Yeah, for sure.
Next up, we got Molten Collapse. It's it's a red and a black. So it is Rakdos for a sorcery. Choose one. If you descended this turn, you can choose both. So that means if a permanent card was put in the graveyard from anywhere, entering your graveyard. It's destroy target creature or planeswalker, or destroy target non-creature, non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less.
Ooh, okay.
So let me blow up your Sol Ring into creature. I don't know. I saw a bunch of people saying this is better than Terminate. Here's my rebuttal for that. Terminate is an instant.
Yeah,
and
that's
it keeps the creature from being regenerated.
Yeah, Terminate is definitely still better, I would say.
But this can hit a planeswalker.
Really, which Terminate cannot do, because that's
right. But this is sorcery speed, and you can have this hit 2 things.
Yeah, so for 2 mana, that's really good. It definitely has a lot of potential.
It's definitely decent. I could see this being sideboard in Legacy just for the destroy target non-creature, non-land part. Yeah. Well, the non-creature, non-land part, because like black doesn't have a ton of artifact enchantment hate. I guess red has has artifact hate, but not really enchantment hate.
Not really, no.
This could get rid of those pesky, like the
another way for black to deal with
Cage and stuff. Yeah,
to deal with those awful cards.
But like Rest in Peace, you couldn't hit because that's a 2-drop, 2-mana card.
Yeah,
so I kind of wish it was destroy something 2 mana or less. That'd be way better. But
or Rest in Peace is 2 or 3. I can't remember.
It's 2 mana. Yeah. So that's what I said. If it was destroy target non-creature non-land with permanently 2 or less, it would be played in Legacy boards all over. I think.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
But,
because that would cover.
Here, I think it's basically just like, if you play Terminate in your deck and you want to be able to blow up planeswalkers or do both of those effects, it's pretty good.
And this is good. But yeah, because God, if it's 2 or less, like that's like 2/3 of Legacy cards. Because like Legacy is basically 3 or less mana usually. So
I just said if it was like 2 or less or 3, it would.
That would be played in almost everything.
Yeah. But 1 mana, so
it's like really good.
Like 1 mana, you're going to kill their Dork, you're going to kill their Sol Ring or their Mana Rock, like. So
it's good. It's
most
definitely
time you're probably just going to 2 mana kill a creature or planeswalker.
Yeah, it's definitely good for commander.
At that point, you could just play Dreadbore, which is the same thing for 2 mana. So
yeah, and Dreadbore is also an instant, if I remember right.
No, it's a sorcery, I think.
Or is that still sorcery?
It's a sorcery, and it costs the exact same mana cost.
Yeah, it's still it's black red.
Destroy a creature or planeswalker, I'm pretty sure. So this just has a little bit more text where if you have something get pitched first or something, you can get both.
You can hit something else.
So I don't know. I'm if you play Dreadbore, you might play this. If you want both the effects or the flexibility to do either or, you would play this. But I personally would just play Terminate still.
Yep, it's still an instant, man.
Unless you want more than one of that effect.
Yeah.
Because instant speed is just better than sorcery speed.
Yeah, and especially for removal, like instant speed's always better, 100%. But it's still not bad, and it basically you're giving up the instant speed for the flexibility. So
yeah,
it's kind of up to you, up to personal preference at that point. Let's see. Is it my turn? I can't remember.
Yep.
All right. So next we got Palani's Hatcher. So Palani's back. 3 and Gruel, which is red and green, for a 5/3 dinosaur creature. Other dinosaurs you control have haste. When Palani's Hatcher enters the battlefield, create 2 0/1 green dinosaur egg creature tokens. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 1 or more eggs, sacrifice an egg, then create a 3/3 green dinosaur creature token.
No! This card combos way too good with Atla Palani.
At Palani, yeah. This is exactly what that deck needs.
Because
exactly.
A, makes eggs. B, gives you a way to sacrifice an egg to get a 3/3, and then the Palani triggers to get a dino off the top of your frickin' deck. And then it has haste. Because of the dinosaurs have haste.
When I read the name of this card, I was like, oh god, it's going to synergize with that fucking commander, and it sure does.
It's bonkers with that commander. If you
This
have
is
that commander,
so
you're putting
good.
this in your deck, guaranteed.
If you play Atla Palani, you're playing Palani's Hatcher.
Yeah.
100%. Because this is everything that deck wants to do in one fucking card.
Yeah. You would still play this in Dinosaur deck too, just because all dinosaurs have haste is good.
Definitely. That's amazing. You want to swing with your 6/6 right off the bat, or your 12/12 right off the bat? Sure. Sounds great. And you also get dudes and on top of that. But yeah, that's really good with that commander. Oh my god.
All right. Next up, we got Sovereign Okenek Ahu. I don't know. I probably butchered that, but whatever.
Something like that. Yeah.
2 green and a white for a 3/4 legendary creature, Cat Noble. The artwork is freaking awesome, by the way. It's like a cat riding a cheetah or something. Like,
yeah,
maybe that's all him. He just has like 4 legs. I don't know.
No, that's all him. Yeah.
Okay. Right,
he has a shield and this big ass fucking like razor sword in his other hand. That's awesome.
And like a really long cycly tail. Okay, so it's a 3/4 Cat Noble with Ward 2. When it attacks, for each creature you control with power greater than that creature's base power, put a number of 1/1 counters on that creature equal to the difference.
Ooh, okay.
So you have to have already pumped a creature?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
So if it has 1/1 counter on it, you're going to put a 1/1 on it. If it has 2, you put 2 on it. So it's basically doubling the 1/1s.
This seems really decent for.
Or if you buffed it with like Rancor, you put 2 1/1s on it.
Yeah, and then that'll be permanent.
So this is really good in like a 1/1 counter deck, I feel.
Yeah.
You definitely need, if this is your commander, you definitely need a way to buff your creatures before this even does anything.
Yeah. It also has Ward 2. That's also really nice.
It's just definitely a solid card, though.
Especially
but it does take a little bit of work to make this be really good.
Yeah. For each creature you control with that. I'm still kind of trying to wrap my hand around it.
You control with power greater than that creature's base power. Yeah, so you have to have manipulated its power, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that has to be what it is.
Basically, you already have +1/+1 counters on it, like if you have like Gavany Township or something.
I think that's how it's worded.
Yeah.
I have to double check, but it sounds like
Mr. MTG Judge.
From the way I'm reading it, it sounds like you're going to get 1/1 counters equal to how much you've already manipulated its power and power.
Yeah.
Or
it could be a constant effect too, like Elishnorn or something like that. I feel like. Because that's like giving up just 2/2 or something.
Yeah, that would work too.
So in a way, that's good because then it's like something that's like, that could be temporary because like once that's gone, then they lose that. But then this will keep those tokens on them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like everything you control is getting difference, but it's not.
Definitely a cool card. It is a little situational, like with stuff like that, for sure. Honestly, like in my wrist deck, this would be great because of a lot of stuff.
Yeah, plus, you could play there's like the card that's like a 1-mana spell or something, or 2-mana spell, put like a 1/1 counter on a couple creatures, and then this is just gonna keep buffing it. So it's basically going to double the 1/1 counters or double your power basically every turn.
Yeah, because it's equal to the difference. So like the bigger you get, the more
you're going to put on it. Yeah,
that's amazing. So so it's a
snowball. Once your 1/1's like an 8/8 or something, it's going to get another 8/8 and then a 16, and then it's going to every turn you attack with this, it's going to make all of your stuff bigger and bigger.
Yeah, this can be like crazy snowball card.
Definitely sweet artwork.
Yeah, I love.
Definitely need a little bit of help to make it work, but not that much. There's a lot of cards that just put a 1/1 on all your creatures, so. And there's a lot of cards like you just play an Anthem, like all your creatures get +1/+1, and then like this is gonna kill me. So
I'm definitely holding on to this artwork for.
This also is good just in like the cat deck because a lot of the cats buff all cats.
Yep, exactly.
So
this works great for that.
Yeah. more I read it, the more I think it's actually really good, and that's why it's a mythic.
Yeah, like it took me a bit to figure out what exactly was going on.
Yeah,
But
it's just making stuff that's buffed more buffed.
yeah, we love it. All right, next up we got Amalia Benavides Agiori. What are these names? My God. It's Orzhov, white black, for a 2/2 legendary vampire scout creature. It has ward, pay 3 life.
Yeah,
I
you
like
ain't
that.
gonna target this unless you deal some
You,
damage
get,
to
you
yourself.
gotta kill yourself in the process. Whenever you gain life, Amalia explores. Then destroy all other creatures if its power is exactly 20.
So
That's
if you
kind of funny.
explore 18 times in the game, you can blow up everything. Or if you could just buff
You
it
just
to
buff
be a
it.
20
Yeah.
attack
Just buff it to oblivion.
and then blow up everything but this 20 powered thing and keep swinging. It's definitely interesting.
This is kind of cool,
I
I
mean,
guess.
it's still like a 2-mana 2/2 with ward pay 3 life is still a good card.
That's fine by itself. Yeah,
Yeah, like I
honestly.
would play this in a vampire deck probably just because you're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
gain life pretty often, and exploring is going to help you find some lands. And if for some crazy reason you get to 20, then sure, you get to have a 20 and nobody
Blow
else has
shit
anything.
up. And
But
then you
I feel
basically
like
just.
that's not going to
Yeah.
happen very often. It's more going to be you just get to keep exploring, and you have a 2/2 with pay 3 life to target it. So
Yeah, that's pretty nice. Not too bad.
next up, we got Vito, the Fanatic of Accolades. So Vito's back.
Yeah.
2 black and a white for a 4/4 legendary creature, vampire demon with flying. Whenever you sacrifice another permanent, you gain 2 life. If this is the first time this ability is resolved. If this is the second time, each opponent loses 2 life. If it's the third time, you make a 4/3 white and black vampire demon creature token with flying.
Ooh.
So
That's pretty.
Aristocrats now has a payoff for sacking 3 things in a turn,
It sure do.
which is pretty flippin' easy because you can just have like
Hard.
Ashnod's Altar and like 3 tokens. Like,
Nah.
oh, let me gain 2 and get some mana. Oh, now everyone loses 2. Oh, now I get a
Now you
4/3
get
and
a
I have 3
4/3.
mana here. And
4/3
I
with
can use the
flying.
3 mana plus, yeah, I could use the 3 mana plus this 4/3 I got out of it. It's just more value for sacrificing
Yeah,
your own
it's just
stuff.
extra value.
Yeah.
You can even use the tokens as more fodder to do something
Yeah,
else.
it's like a win more card, but
Yeah,
it definitely is
really
good as a commander though. So
great. Yeah, and like a vampire
and
commander.
this is even good because like if you've like evolving wilds and stuff in your deck or a fetch land, you're gonna gain 2 life off of it.
Yeah,
So
that's really good.
like I'll fetch, lose a life, and then gain 2. So I gain 1 life and fetch. That's good.
Yeah, I love to gain it, fetch and gain 2 life.
Yeah, yeah. Fetch and
Sure.
gain that 1 life. So gain a life, fetch.
Yeah, it's like
pretty
I
good.
actually gain life off this fetch land.
Yeah.
So suck it. That's awesome. That's got some value for sure. Quite good. Ooh, made it to page 2. All right. Hey, speaking of familiar faces, we got Saheeli, the Sun's Brilliance, who is it, which is blue and red, for a 2/2 legendary human artificer creature. You may pay Is it and tap it. Create a token that's a copy of another target creature or artifact you control, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. It gains haste. Sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the Planeswalker Saheeli that just turned a creature artifact into a copy of another one for a turn.
Yeah,
Except
so
for
it's
here,
basically one of the effects, essentially. Yeah.
yeah. Except for here, it gains haste and it becomes an artifact. So like, if you do this on like Blightsteel, just like swing.
Oops, kill you.
Yeah. I mean, you can also like because it gains haste, you can use it right away. So you can be like, all right, I'm going to turn this token into my Sol Ring and then tap for some mana or something. So
Right, that's also really good. Like,
it's good because you can use any of your artifacts, artifact decks or your
yeah,
artifact tap abilities again. So.
this is just utility up the ass, basically. It's like there's innumerable things you can do with this.
Yeah,
So.
and if you play the other Saheeli in a deck, this is gonna be just as good and like a second copy of it in your deck. So
Yeah, well, I mean, why not?
yep.
Seems good.
Next up, we got the Belligerent. It is 2. That's a cool name. 2 blue and a red for a 5/5 legendary artifact vehicle. Whenever the Belligerent attacks, create a treasure token. Until end of turn, you may look at the top card of your library at any time, and you may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. Crew 3.
God.
Wait, so this is a 4 mana 5/5. And if I crew it and attack, I get a treasure, and then I get to play stuff on top of my deck for the rest of the turn? That's really good.
That's really good. So you basically have an additional card in your hand.
And it's another cool-ass pirate ship.
Yeah. This art looks amazing.
And the name is the Belligerent, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's a great name for a pirate ship. Because that kind of matches
drink all
up.
my rum to become belligerent. That's why I'm riding on the Belligerent. Drink all my rum on it. Okay.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, that's a cool card.
Yeah,
that's a really good
card.
Lots and very flavorful too, which is also great. Next up, we got Squirm, Davy Jones' head, basically. Kind of unsettling. Squirming Emergence. It is 1 and Golgari, or black and green, for a sorcery. Fathomless Descent. Return to the battlefield. Target non-land permanent card in your graveyard with mana value less than or equal to the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. So if you got a shit ton of stuff in your graveyard, you can bring back basically anything.
Yeah, so 3 mana brings some stuff back, which is awesome. I love the flavor text on this, too.
God, I didn't read that.
Due to archaic brazen coalition guidelines regarding hats, a few mycoids are now technically pirate captains. So that's a mycoid wearing a pirate hat. And so
that's awesome.
The artwork.
That's awesome.
That's why I'm like, this is the coolest. It's a pirate, man. It's a pirate mycoid.
Yeah, that could have a lot of potential use, actually. Like, especially in any kind of like mill yourself deck or entomb deck, basically. Yeah, you can bring back pretty much anything you want for 3.
Yep, it's pretty good.
Not bad.
I'll probably play it in my
Kakusho?
Carador deck.
No, it's not green.
Carador.
Yeah.
Which is my Kakusho deck now.
Okay.
It's 3 colors. It's Abzan now.
It's not mono black anymore.
Next up, we got the Myco Tyrant. It is 1 green and a black for a legendary creature, Elder Fungus. And it's a star with trample. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control that are fungi or saplings.
Ooh, okay.
At the beginning of your end step, create X11 black fungus creature tokens with this creature can't block, where X is the number of times you descended this turn, which is put stuff in your graveyard. This is awesome. I can make a fungi deck.
Fungi deck.
And then I can be a fun guy. I could be a fun guy playing fungi.
He's a fun guy, man.
That's what I wanted. I was playing Josh's Sapperling deck, and I wanted to just be a fun guy and play a bunch of tokens and saplings and fungus. And no, he had to build it in this dumb combo. I don't want that. I just want to play fun guy. Bunch of tokens.
Almost worked for my Devour deck, except it's black, unfortunately, so I can't play it.
Yeah, this would be cool. I might end up building this deck. This looks cool.
Yeah. So we have a way to make fungus tribal now, and there's plenty of them in Magic.
I mean, there was some sapling fungus guys before too, but
and saplings too. There's plenty of saplings as well. So.
But this one's cool, and it's like a giant elder one sitting in a chair. Is that? I can't even tell if it's like sitting in a chair or if it's just like overgrown into a wall or something.
Yeah, a wall or some shit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool artwork though.
Yeah, I like the way that looks. All right, next up we got Animpeckle Thousandth Moon. It is 1 on Boros or red and white for a 1/2 legendary creature, human soldier. Whenever you attack with one or more non-gnome creatures, put a +1/+1 counter on Animpeckle, then create X 1/1 colorless gnome artifact creature tokens that are tapped and attacking, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on this creature.
It's pretty good.
Not bad at all.
And if you have a way to add a bunch of 1/1 counters to it anyway, you're going to get a lot of 1/1s attacking.
Oh, yeah. And especially it's got white in the identity, so white can do that usually.
Yep.
So,
well, doesn't it have the one that whenever a creature comes in, you put a 1/1 on all your creatures?
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so then all of your 1/1s are going to be huge.
Yeah, just giant. Like this can win games by itself if you have like the setup.
This thing is going to be crazy good.
Very good in the right kind of deck. Oh, we got our one planeswalker.
Yeah, it's Quintorius Khan, so it's the elephant guy from the Strixhaven plane is here. 3 red and a white for a legendary planeswalker, Quintorius. Comes with 4 loyalty counters. Whenever you cast a spell from exile, Quintorius deals 2 damage to each opponent and you gain 2 life.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And then it has +1, create a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. -3, discover 4.
Okay.
-6, exile any number of target cards from your graveyard. Add a red mana for each card exiled this way, and you may play those cards this turn.
Oh, God.
So,
yeah, that's got a lot going on for it.
Yeah, this is super good just in any deck where you're playing a lot of free shit from exile because it's going to keep draining people. And then it can make 3 and 2 red-white spirit tokens, and you can -3 to just get something that's 4 mana.
Yeah, you basically helix them every single time you do that.
Like, yeah, well, the -3 is going to trigger casting from exile too.
Yeah, yeah, basically free like baby helixes. Babby helix.
That's good. This is a pretty good planeswalker.
Awesome. Yeah. Very good. Yeah, great for Boros. That's the kind of shit Boros does. They want to fucking deal damage to you and also play, like creature-based shit or whatever. So / gain life. So yeah, very, very good. Next up, we got Deep Fathom Echo. It is 2 and Simic or green and blue for a 4/4 Murfolk spirit creature. At the beginning of combat on your turn, Deep Fathom Echo explores. Then you may have it become a copy of another creature you control until end of turn.
Yeah, so whatever. It's a 4 mana 4/4 that explores every turn, and then you can turn it into your best thing to swing. It's just medium. Yeah. Like you need others. You have to really want to copy something.
It needs support for it to be good.
Like, there's just so many other good Simic cards that like you really need to want this effect to even play it.
Well, there's so many better like clone cards, like especially from the Doctor Who set. There were insanely good cloning mechanics in that.
So. And green doesn't really need to explore that much because you have
there's plenty of other cards that do that.
Plenty of other ramp cards in green. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mid at best.
If this was like mono blue, I think it'd be better. But
yeah.
It is a Murfolk, I guess.
Yeah, it's good for that deck, I guess, but if you really need it. So yeah, that's multicolor. Multicolor is, for the most part, really good. Really solid.
Yeah, all those cards were good. Except for this one's like the worst.
Like this last one was definitely the least good, but yeah, like the Planeswalker is really good. The freaking Atma Palani freaking baby maker.
Yeah, don't remind me on how good that combo is with Palani. Someone's gonna have that combo out, and I'm gonna be like, my brain is gonna start bleeding now. Yeah.
Just like
come on,
the table. I hate this card.
Yeah, it's just too good.
Yeah, that's gonna be awful.
Let me just do the thing where creatures can't enter from not cast.
Yeah, they have to be cast.
We just play that. Okay. We're on to artifacts now. Is that what we're on?
You're on artifacts.
All right. So First one here is the Throne of the Grim Captain. I.e. All right, 2 mana for a legendary artifact that has tap, mill 2 cards. Okay. And then
Nice,
you
nice.
craft it with a dinosaur, a merfolk, a pirate, and a vampire, and paying 4 mana. So you pay 4 mana, exile a dinosaur, merfolk, pirate, and vampire from in play or in your graveyard to return this transformed at sorcery speed. And it transforms into... Wait, is that right? That's not right.
Yep.
Chimili? That's not right.
Oh, no, that's not right.
I don't think I have the transform. What does it transform into?
Okay, I have it. It transforms into the Grim Captain. It is a 7/7 legendary skeleton spirit pirate creature with, Jesus Christ, menace, trample, lifelink, and hexproof. That's not enough keywords for you. I don't know what is. Whenever the Grim Captain attacks, each opponent sacrifices a non-land permanent. Then you may put an exile creature card used to craft him onto the battlefield under your control, tapped and attacking. Gross.
So it is really good to make the Groot the captain then.
Yeah, he is very much worth it. You must have a deck that can really play around it, though.
Yeah, or just play all changelings. But
or yeah, that's always the other way. But then that makes the payoff not nearly as good, like because you're just bringing back like a 2/2 changeling or something like that. And
yeah,
like, whatever. But I mean, the 7/7 with like 5 fucking keywords is nice, I guess. But and then also each opponent sacrifices a permanent that's not land. That's also very good when he attacks. So yeah, he's really good. He is really good if you can pull him off. But he's also good just to, if you want to self-mill, or is it target player or is it just you? I guess it's just you. So
it's just you mill too. But yeah, it's good for self-mill.
It's good for self-mill, good for if you're reanimating. Yeah. That can be very, very good. So next up we got Chillmill, the Inner Sun. It is 6 for a legendary artifact. Spells you control can't be countered. At the beginning of your end step, discover 5.
Yeah, so if this sticks around for more than a turn, you've already
this is already worth it.
For it back.
Yeah. And then sorry, Blue, suck it.
yeah, I'm just gonna get a bunch of free stuff. See ya.
If you're tired of getting counterspelled all the damn time, here's your answer, I guess.
Yep. And then after that, we have Mazatalani, the Great Door. 3 mana for legendary artifact. Tap, draw a card, discard a card. Pay 4 tap, transform it. Activate only if there are 4 or more permanent types among cards in your graveyard, which are artifact, battle, creature, enchantment, land, and planeswalker. And it transforms into the Core, which is a legendary land that taps to add X mana of any one color where X is the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. Holy crap, it's a lot of mana.
This can tap for a shit ton.
So looting an artifact that can then turn into a land that adds a bunch of mana.
Not bad.
It's pretty cool.
Not bad at all. And honestly, you'll get there. Even if you play this on turn 3 and this sticks around, this can pay off big time if it, no one destroys it.
Yeah, I mean, 4 or more types is pretty easy to hit. Like a creature, enchantment, land, artifact is going to happen pretty often.
So then, so if you transform it right off the bat, you're already tapping for 4 mana, basically. Yep. And then it's just
it counts total. It doesn't count kinds.
It's
so you could have but yes, at least 4 because you had one of each. If you had only 4 cards. Yeah. Well, you could have more, if you have a bunch of extra lands or something.
It could be 6 or something.
Yeah.
So. It's okay, that's great. Move over other stuff. that can tap for a shit ton. Right. Next up, we got Roaming Throne. It is 4 for a 4/4 artifact golem creature with Ward 2. As Roaming Throne enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Roaming Throne is the chosen type in addition to its other types. If a triggered ability of another creature you control of the chosen type triggers, it triggers an additional time. So this is really great for any kind of tribal deck that relies on ETBs.
Yep.
Pretty great.
I don't know how many golems there are, but I really want to do a golem tribal deck at some point. Or I guess now that they just announced it's Kindred is going to be the new type for it.
Oh, okay.
Word for it, but like Bitter Blossoms is like a tribal enchantment. Is going to say Kindred enchantment type.
Gotcha.
Next up is Tyrion's Soul Cleaver. It's a 1-mana legendary artifact equipment. With equipped creature has vigilance, and whenever another artifact or creature is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on the equipped creature. Equip cost is 2.
Oh god. So that includes if you sack shit.
Oh yeah.
this can
it's going to get out of hand. I mean, it's just like
real fast.
The Blood Chief one for the vampire deck that gets out of hand because you.
Yeah, I'm going to make an ass ton of treasure tokens. I'm going to sacrifice all those treasure tokens. I'm going to make a big fucker and attack for a shit ton. Sounds great for 3 mana total to equip it.
And it's going to make my thing have vigilance. So.
Yeah, and then he blocks too.
It's pretty good.
Okay, this fucking card. This one I saw earlier. This is gonna be one of those silly cards if you're actually able to pull it off. The Millennium Calendar. It is 1 for a legendary artifact. Whenever you untap 1 or more permanents during your untap step, put that many time counters on the Millennium Calendar. You may pay 2 and tap it, double the number of time counters on the Millennium Calendar. When there are 1,000 or more time counters on the Millennium Calendar, sacrifice it, and each opponent loses 1,000 life. Yeah! That's probably never going to happen, but it's silly.
It might be doable, though. Like, so you keep doubling, it goes fast. If you have a way to... I mean, there's whenever you untap, right? So if you have, like
attack key,
untap, it's going to get, like, 7. Right, like so, like if you are on like turn 7, you're gonna have 7 counters on it because you untap 7 lands, and there's the cards that like give you a second untap step. So
that's all true, yeah. So yeah, Paradox Haze, that kind of shit. Or no,
that's upkeep. But there's the Sphinx that gives you an untap upkeep and draw again.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, plus you have like proliferating clock spinning and shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if like ways to untap this, retap it to keep doubling.
Better time, Voltaic Key.
I don't know how, because like if you get close to it, someone's just gonna blow it up, right? Like,
of course, yeah, it's an artifact. People
but it's definitely a goal. If you can get there, you're like, oh yeah, I won by doing 1,000 damage.
Way to win the game. I would love to see someone win this because it's just fucking hilarious. But unlikely.
It's gonna be hard to get 1,000, I think, still though.
But it's great.
But it's a good goal, dude. Someone do it, please. Send pictures.
Yeah, I want to see that shit. And everyone's reaction to it.
Next up, we got the Threefold Thunder Hulk. It's a 7-mana 0/0 artifact creature gnome. Enters the battlefield with 3 +1/+1 counters on it, and when it enters the battlefield or attacks, create a number of 1/1 colorless gnome artifact creature tokens equal to its power, and sacrifice another artifact, put a 1/1 counter on it. So it's a 7-mana 3/3 that makes 3 1/1s. And then you can
attack too.
And then you could sack like the 1/1s to make this bigger, and then make 6 of them. I don't know. This seems like a really slow way to make a bunch of tokens, but
there's better ways. Obviously, there's way better ways to make tokens.
Especially because like it's 7 mana. Like it's kind of slow to make a bunch of tokens, but because I'd rather just play like Myr Battlesphere.
Yeah, Myr Battlesphere is way better. That's the same cost, but Myr Battlesphere is like a 5/5 or whatever the hell
it's like
it is.
4/7 or something. Yeah,
4/7. And it gets bigger.
Yeah.
Like that's
I don't know. I'm sure there's a way to break it. It's cool that it's a gnome, and it's cool that it's a 3-fold. So it's 3 3s. So it's good flavor.
Yeah, it's an interesting card. I'm not sure how good it's actually going to be, especially compared to stuff that's already out there. So
right.
So that's Artifact. Artifacts. I mean, there's a couple really bonkers stuff here, but there's a lot of these are just kind of just fun. These are just fun artifacts.
Medium,
yeah. They're more fun than good. So we got some new man lands. It looks like.
Yeah, it
So
looks like it's finishing the cycle from the last set.
yep. Our first one is Restless Anchorage. It is a land. It comes into play tapped. You tap it for a white or blue, and then you can pay 1 and Azorius. Until end of turn, Restless Anchorage becomes a 2/3 white and blue bird creature with flying. It's still a land. Whenever a Restless Anchorage attacks, create a map token.
I mean, that's pretty good, man.
It's awesome.
It's also cool that the artwork, it's like
Yeah,
an
it's a
anchorage that's shaped like a bird.
bird. Which is awesome.
It's an island shaped like a bird.
It's like the freaking the bird boss from Breath of the Wild. I can't remember what his name is, but yeah, that's kind of what this looks like.
All these lands are going to be bombs and limited, just like the last ones were too.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And all these man lands are good, like because they have an attack trigger and like they turn into something good.
Yeah, I like the other ones have been just literally usually just they turn into something, but these actually do shit.
So the black blue one is test for black or blue. It's called Restless Reef. 2 black blue until end of turn. It becomes a 4/4 blue and black shark with Death Touch, and when it attacks, you can mill someone 4 cards.
Hell yeah!
But 4/4
really
Death
good.
Touch is really good.
That by itself was amazing. Yeah, sure, Creeping Tar Pit's good. All right, next up we got Restless Vents, which is the Rakdos manland. Comes into play tap like the other ones. You can tap it to add black and red. And then you can tap 1 and Rakdos until end of turn. Restless Vents becomes a 2/3 black and red insect creature with menace. It's still a land. Whenever it attacks, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. So nice, pitch something, get something. It's a menace.
Yeah.
2/3.
Pretty really strong and limited because it's a 2/3 menace, and you can loot away your lands for better cards.
Yep. Good shit.
Let's see. Next we got the green-red one, which is Restless Ridgeline. It enters tapped as red and green. 2 red and green, it becomes a 3/4 red and green dinosaur creature token until end of turn. Whenever it attacks, another target attacking creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn and untap that creature.
Ooh. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So it's a 3/4, which is fine. No abilities, but that's not a big deal. But that ability is really nice.
Yeah, so a 3/4, and then you can make something else big, +2 bigger. That'll still be able to block because it's like pseudo vigilance.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Then we got the Selesnya one, which is Restless Prairie. It comes into play tapped. You can tap it for green or white. Tap 2 and Selesnya. Restless Prairie becomes a 3/3 green and white llama. That's interesting.
Yeah, llama.
Until end of turn, it's still land. Whenever I can just hear Yzma saying llama from
that's exactly the essence of llama.
That's hilarious. And then it also has whenever it attacks other creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. That's really good in Selesnya. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Creature tokens creature +1/+1 like
yeah, it's a good land to have in your
I want this. This is so much better than like Treetop Village or like freaking what's the fucking OG one? I can't remember what it's called now. Fuck.
Stirring Wildwood?
Yeah, Wildwood. It's like, it's like a 2/3 with reach. Whoop-de-doo. This is way fucking better.
Isn't your playmat Stirring Wildwood?
Yeah, that's my playmat.
You're just ditching out your card. You're just like, this is way better. Get rid of that. In with the llamas. We're going to get a llama playmat, and we're going to play the llama land. Yeah.
I'd probably still keep Wildwood in, but this is better, man. This is so much better. That's just so good. Hey, look, we have a cave. That's the thing we were wondering about earlier.
Yeah, so it's Echoing Depths. It's a cave land. It enters tapped as a copy of any land in a graveyard, except for it's a cave in addition. And it taps for a waste.
Interesting. Okay.
I was trying to think of a combo. I was like, at first I went to Dark Depths, but I'm like, it doesn't work because it enters as that, so it would still be counters.
With the counters, yeah, so that doesn't work. But a copy of like Coffers?
Yeah, I mean, you would basically just play it to get a copy of whatever good land they blew up with
A
straight
copy of Cradle?
Yeah, Cradle
Sure.
or Coppers. Or I guess you could blow up your opponent's land and then copy that. It's like if they had a good land.
That's also dirty as hell because it is any graveyard, right?
Yeah.
A graveyard. That's silly. So yes, I would love to blow up your whatever, enter good land here and take it, basically.
Yep.
Excellent. And then our last one is Sunken Citadel. It is also a cave land. Sunken Citadel enters the battlefield tapped. As it enters, choose a color. Tap it, add 1 mana of the chosen color. Also, you can have tap it, add 2 mana of the chosen color, but that one you can spend only to activate abilities or only to activate abilities of land sources. Okay. So things like Nykthos or something like that.
Yeah, or the copy one, Thespian Stage.
Thespian Stage, yeah. Or Gavany Township, you know. There's plenty of things that you can hit with that.
Or the what's the other one? The land that like is like pay 3 or 4 and you can turn it into a Mazavith or whatever.
Yeah, Mystifying Maze.
Yeah, Mystifying
that's
Maze.
the one. That's the one I usually run because it actually fucking gives you land, unlike Mazavith.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are some really good lands.
Yeah, so there's a couple
very,
cave lands.
very
I wonder if there's cave lands that are like uncommon and common. I haven't looked. If there is,
I don't know.
It might be worth playing that green card if you need all of the caves, but
yeah, it's hard to say. And maybe we'll see more in the future. Who knows?
Probably.
I'm guessing since they made a whole deal out of it. Although that doesn't always guarantee that they'll stick with it, but it can.
Yeah,
so
I mean, we'll
find out.
There was a few cards that they didn't bring anything back of it at all for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they have it in the plans though. So
yeah.
Because even like shrines came back eventually. It just took a long time.
It just might take
years.
a few decades. So I guess we'll see. But there we go.
But I know they try not to do that much anymore. Like, because even like the last Eldraine when they did adventure stuff, they brought it back again. You know, a couple years.
Yeah, well, and we've seen we saw it in like the Doctor Who set. We've seen it here in Ixalan even. So like, yeah, they're kind of sprinkling it in some. So we'll have to see what as they continue onward what they do.
Yeah, and remember, you can want to buy any of these cards, you can pre-order them, buy them on TCG Player using our affiliate link. Or if you want to do a local game storage type thing, you know, the miniature market, you can also buy D&D figures and stuff there and Magic cards. We have an affiliate link for them as well in the show notes and on our website, mtgplace.net. You can also listen to every episode of the podcast there. And our YouTube has all the video versions.
Yep, so you can actually see the cards we're talking about. So, you know, we do try to explain them as best we can, but it is obviously better when you can see the card we're talking about. So that helps too. Well, what a set. We made it.
Yeah, I like the set. You know, so,
this is going to be fun. I'm definitely looking forward to playing it. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.
See you next time.